We are back again, man. It's crazy. We are really in the countdown. We are really in the swing of things of Good Earners. The Sopranos, but this is Good Earners reviewing the Sopranos. And here on Good Earners, we like to talk about family, finesse, and finances and feelings in the world of Tony Soprano, bringing you a new perspective, a black perspective, and the best perspective. I'm not alone. I'm here with the fellas, Spike Lou, Big Rich Town, the two capos. How y'all feeling?
Doing all right, man. How you feeling today, this evening?
I'm feeling good, man. We in season 6B, you know what I'm saying? And there is no season. And there is no season 7.
There is no season 7, man. 6B.
We're in at the end.
We're in at the end. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I asked somebody how long do we have left to review these episodes. They said give or take 3 months. So it's a little humor there, but nonetheless, man, we are here to have a very enjoyable episode. I'm feeling good because like we are getting to that bag. When I watched this, man, I was like, oh yeah, we here, buddy. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have any emails we got some emails, but they came in after we recorded. So y'all, when I posted the episode, I let y'all know that we record on a different day. So if y'all sent some in regards to the episode prior, where it falls is differently. So if y'all listen like, oh, why didn't they read our email? I did send something. It didn't land because of the day we record. So we will be reading those today. So without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, I got Chris Falone. He says, just wanted to mention something about the whole Gab versus Roll debate. He says, do you think there is an unspoken understanding between Carm and Roll because they were both married to bosses and Gabby really has no fucking idea what it's like to have a husband who's number one?
It's good.
That's good.
I like that.
But in all
man.
seriousness, I think Gab is the friend that Carm wants, but Roll is the friend she needs.
100%. I agree with Chris on that one. And that's a great callback because it happened so early in the series that you forget that Jackie was a boss. So she did live that life that Carm lived before she did. Now. So they do have, yeah. And that says a lot about Rosalie because she doesn't even throw that shit up. Like a lot of women would just use that as back in my day. Remember when, like our next episode, but they would have used that. And Rosalie just I'm just a G. I'm authentic about it. And Carm, I really fuck with you because you, not because you Tony Soprano wife or because you this or that. Because that's how we roll.
Yeah, facts. Great insight, brother. Chris Falone, he got another message for us, but just a little further down. Here's some fun right here. We're about to have fun with this one, fellas. One of the women ladies, one of the first ladies of Good Earners, I like to call Jordan. So, bringing back the conversation, y'all. If y'all remember what we talked about 2 episodes ago, we asked who could pull a black woman. So her subject line is, who can pull a shine? And she put the moon face.
That's funny.
That's is silly. So, because we wanted them to participate. All right. So she says, Mo, Spike, and Rich, thanks for tagging me in again. Always enjoy contributing to your thought-provoking conversations. Here's my list of who I think may be eligible to order dark meat instead of light.
She wildin'.
Yeah, cooking. I love when maybe eligible. Yeah, maybe eligible. Okay, so to start, Jackie Jr. He can pull me today, all caps. Jason Serbone, if I'm saying that right, is still fine as hell and might be even better looking now that he's older. Parentheses, maybe Spike is right. I did go to an all-girls Catholic school where I was one of 4 black girls in my class. She says, what can I say? I am an equal opportunity employer. She says Matthew Bevilacqua, and she put parentheses, see a Bronx Tale. You know, obviously, shout out to Spike. That's his favorite move, one of his favorites. She says, I'm surprised nobody said Tony, but let me be more specific. Season 1 to 3/4, Slim Thick Tony.
That's interesting.
That is
I wouldn't put Tony at 3.
Yeah.
It's the power, man. It's the power.
She gonna pause, man. She's
It's the power.
the power. Hey, you selling it a little bit, ain't you, brother?
No, because I was having a conversation with someone that don't like the show, and it was like it's unrealistic that Tony can get this many women. And I was like, bro,
I don't think so.
I didn't either. Like, but we like Tony's character more than this person does. So
yeah, I mean, if he didn't have no kind of charm about him and stuff like that, it would be a little bit unbelievable. But anyway, we'll get back to that. But she says parentheses because she don't want no puppy, she want a big dog. I get it. And then she says, and while we know he's not fluent in Swahili, if he was, I could absolutely see him pulling a sister. Lastly, she says, I definitely agree that Chrissy isn't pulling one of us unless she's also strung out like he is. I don't see Big P or Seal pulling one, but for some odd reason I can't explain, I can see Paulie dabbling in dark meat. Ralph is a no-brainer. If anybody was pulling Kaisha, it was him. Thanks again for tagging me in. Sad that this great thing of ours is coming to an end, but I am absolutely looking forward to niggas on the throne. Much love.
There you go, Mo.
No, man, no.
Hey, that was a really good email.
Absolutely, man. That's a GOAT email right there. Man, that is good.
What did we say? Who did we say we thought would be number one? Did we say
number one?
Was it? Didn't we say the same thing she said, Jackie Jr.?
I think we said Jackie Jr.
We definitely all had Jackie Jr. in there. We never said Tony. I think I said Chrissy. Y'all said, I don't think y'all said, I think y'all was like, nah. We didn't say Paulie. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I can recall at the moment. We got a DM from Amanda. Oh man, Amanda, I'm so sorry. I apologize. So she says, hey guys, happy new year. Love the latest episode. I was rolling you guys talking about what characters could get black girls. I actually would have went for old school Chris, not new whiny whoa it's me. He had that late 90s Lexus, didn't take shit and really hustled. Always enjoy the commentary. Keep up the good work. And my name is actually Amanda. I think when I jokingly said all the different names, when you called me Amber, my cousin's name is Ashley. So it makes me laugh when you say her name. Sorry, Amanda. Golly. I'm gonna start saying
Amanda.
Shout out to Amanda.
Shout out to Amanda, man.
Amanda, please. That's the way I'm gonna have to remember that. You know what I'm saying? For the nostalgia.
Look at Christopher getting the vote, man.
She liked the why you treat me like I'm nothing to worry about, Chris.
Oh yeah. Definitely shooting people in the foot at a bakery. She like that, Chris. You know what I
mean? Oh, yeah.
Shout out to you, man.
That's still one of my favorite Soprano scenes.
Yeah.
Chris really wanted to know, like, yo, what is it about me that make you think I'm pussy?
Who wouldn't? You know what I mean? It's like, bro, what vibe am I getting off?
What am I giving off?
Yeah, I gotta know.
I think we said that.
The nigga, I wasn't on that episode, so this is my chance to even say that shit. The nigga serving up croissants, nigga thinks I'm pussy. Like, damn. I'm a gangster, nigga. Like, what is it?
Yeah, bro. Like,
how the fuck did you read me this wrong?
Yeah, because I just whacked somebody at Sax
I will kill you in here, bro.
For real.
Like, I will do that.
For real, bro. Straight up.
Oh shit.
We got a YouTube comment from our Back of the Bean episode with our sit down with Joseph R. Ganniscoli. Shout out to him again, Joseph. Thank you. Never stop saying that.
Absolutely.
The listener says it's Jeffrey Kovich 9875. He says you mentioned who you would like to interview next. I would be interested in you guys interviewing Joey Pants. I don't think he's done any about his time on The Sopranos. This interview with Joseph Ganniscoli proves that you're great interviewers. He seemed like he enjoyed it as well. Thanks a lot, fellas.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate
that means a lot.
Yeah, if we can get Joey Pants,
that would be a crazy episode.
And I mean that's why I'm always indebted and thankful for what Joseph did for us, because it's like now this is a part of the resume. So if anybody want to know how's the show, boom, that's it. If you want to know what it's going to be like being on an interview, boom, we have that. He blessed us to have that. You know what I mean?
And that's crazy because I got Bad Boys questions. I got Midnight Run questions. I have a lot of questions for Joey Pants.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Matrix questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can get them, like, I mean, again, everybody's not, taking their time out of their day to do that. But if we can, absolutely. I mean, I'm open to Lil Carmine, man. Listen, anybody that was main characters in cast, I'm all for. But yeah, so thanks. We got another comment from our last episode, Soprano Home Movies. It's from Things and Stuff, Ja.
How about that?
That's gonna always make me laugh, bro. We need shirts for that, like that Tony face or that Bobby face. Both of them, we need that. He says Mink had a solid defense. I thought it was a brilliant argument. Laugh my ass off at Bobby's shorts. Laugh my ass off at Bobby's shorts in all caps. Roadies.
Hey, that was funny.
That was. Thanks, Things and Stuff, Ja. Appreciate that. Our guy, Akena, he reaches out. Been a while. Subject line, gin. He says, folks, gin, a top tier drink. Oh man, I now remember when we was talking about gin. Nah, man. All right. Remember we talking about like
gin, Sacramento?
No,
gin.
Alcohol.
Oh, GIN. Okay.
That ain't no. Yeah, I remember.
You see how
that was so far fetched. You didn't even know what he was talking about. Like, bruh. What?
Yeah.
I think he's like somewhere else, right? He ain't.
Yeah, I think he's Nigerian, I believe. Ike.
Yes.
Good gin, good, like not Bombay, but good gin is a difference.
I'm not opposed to it.
But the normal gin, like, nah.
I'm just not gonna do it at like a kickback though. Like this is like,
yeah. If you drink a gin at the kickback, you telling me everything I need.
You know what I mean?
About.
It's like I'm not doing.
Yeah,
if we
no
doing like, hey, this is a
one
mix that happen to have gin in it. Like, okay, this is like a nice little concoction at a, some kind of elegant situation. It's like, all right, cool, we can do that. But like, bro, I'm not about to be just like, oh, we at the.
I often say that there's no situation where you buying a bottle of gin and taking it to sit back, the kickback.
No,
you're not asking the nigga to bring it unless you say you're right, Mo. Unless it's a very specific drink that y'all making with this gin, like a Long Island iced tea or some shit like that. I think gin go in that. But a nigga ain't just been like, I'm finna grab this $30 bottle of gin and head over to the homie house.
That's facts.
Like that,
man, come on, bro.
We probably shouldn't be hanging out no more.
Yeah, but he said add some fresh fruit into a glass like blueberries or raspberries. Add your gin and then your tonic water, and it's great. Also, if you have a sweet tooth, add lemonade to gin instead. But it's more of a summer drink. Here in England, gin sells adverse ramp-ups in the summer. Happy New Year, and I hope you all are good. From your favorite person across the pond. Man, come on.
My dog. Hey, all right. So now thanks for those recommendations. The fresh fruit and the tonic actually doesn't sound bad. I just need to know what kind of gin you're using. So if you can, write in and tell us what brand of gin. I've heard of the gin and lemonade. That's what hell nah. Nope.
But that bumpy face.
Nope. I'm already out.
Nah, the bumpy face is.
But I remember when Wiz came out, he was real big on that Bombay and lemonade.
On that bomb. That definitely had, that era, that blog era rap. They definitely had me trying drinks because they was rapping about it. I definitely had Amaretta.
Nah, fact, yeah. Because just like the same way T-Pain had y'all niggas out here drinking Nouveau.
Yeah, definitely did.
That shit was wild.
That was a disgusting time in the culture right there, boy.
That
disgusting.
Passion,
those like when Nouveau was hot. That was when like first Fridays and you had jeans and you had the hard bottom shoes to get in. Yeah, you got
baggy
like
jeans with the sweater vest with the shirt with the tie underneath. Some Soulja Boy glasses. Niggas was out here looking crazy on the block.
Soulja Boy glasses.
It was disgusting outside.
White frames is crazy.
White frame
glasses.
Going out looking like it's casual day at the office was insane.
Oh man,
we had we literally had the worst era for fashion.
Yeah. The wide pants with the dress shoe is crazy.
Like to the point, I can't believe we pull women. Like that's how crazy it was. Well, I know that was in. I know. But I'm just saying, like, show them a picture of me in like a 3XL throwback. with a 2XL tall tee underneath it, and a headband when I ain't playing no sports.
I mean, caveman was full of women. You know what I mean? Like,
right now.
No, let me rephrase. I know why I was pulling women. I
had no problem with the dark meat, huh?
I don't know if I just got older, but right now it's just as bad. Right now it's like you see some shit now. Like, oh my God, bro, what is going on? Where am I?
Yeah.
Man.
We got our guy.
Man, we didn't even start the episode yet.
I know, yeah. We, hey, y'all got
to. Rich got to get up at 5, bro.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Nah, we good.
But these are the last of the beautiful moments.
I'm good.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like it's just one of those things where we deal with whatever after, But we got another comment on YouTube from our last episode, Soprano Home Movies, from Kiori. My bad. He says, please have a Back of the Bing featuring Mike Seatown. Remember, he used to be work with Dead End, I believe. He says, I love being, and is the Mike still on Patreon member and hearing him bicker with Spike. But I need, all caps and need, the interaction with Mo and Rich too. I bet Mike would like AJ even more after being able to pull Blanca. Crying emoji.
That's true. He know Mike. That is definitely true. Look at Mo's face.
Bro, people want me to crash out so bad. People just because they know I'm nuts. Like that's why they just be like, bro. But yeah, now that I'll leave that to them brothers. Like I said, them two, they gonna lock in, and I ain't got it. Y'all had to really sell me on it. I believe this is our last one. Let me double check real quick. Yep, this is our last one, again from our brother, Italian brother Chris Falone, clarifying some things. He says, just wanted to weigh in on the nickname controversy with Bobby's daughter. He says, Nika is actually a very common Italian name. The boy's name is Domenico, if I'm saying that right, and people call him Nico. And the girl's name is Dominica, and they call him Nika. So I don't think Chase did it intentionally. Hope he didn't anyways, but great episode as always, man. You guys are cooking.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Chris, man. Thank you.
I told him I appreciate you for, giving us the culture, clarifying in those cultural misunderstandings. You know what I'm saying? I say that's definitely very convenient, but I get that. I'm glad he's Italian, so I trust your word, brother. All right, and that is all of the support that we've gotten from our supporters of ours. If y'all want to reach out, goodearnerpod@gmail.com, hit us up on YouTube or hit us up on Instagram, goodearnerpod_Sopranos. We only got a few more of these things being episodes, so don't miss out as far as the show goes. We'll of course give y'all some Back of the Bings when that time comes. We'll discuss that, and of course we'll plan on doing another show, but in the meantime we still in this thing. 6B. Spike Lou, what episode we reviewing today?
Mo, this is 6B, season 6, episode 14, entitled Stage 5. Guys, Cleaver is done. Chris has everyone come check out his movie premiere. And Carmela, she has some critiques. Johnny Sack gets devastating news, but finds solace in the suffering. Phil, he thinks being a boss is a young man's game. And Carmine, as a boss, I don't think so. Chris tries to clean up a mess that he made, and Tony finds out someone he loves hates him secretly. All right, this is season 6, episode 14, stage 5.
Stage 5. All right, well, we get immediately in, we're seeing the scene from Cleaver. We're getting the Cleaver cut. And we open watching, this is what I'm assuming is the end of Cleveland, of Christopher's film, and they seem to like it. How interesting is it that this deep-rooted hatred? Maybe I save it. I ain't gonna even jump that early. Make them wait for it.
You was gonna go right to it.
Shout out to Vito. You gotta wait for it. You gotta wait for that. What y'all think about this, man? What y'all think about the scene? You know what I mean? The legend of Cleaver as Soprano lure and how the guys are feeling about it and where Chris' mind is and everything.
It's dope to see, man. It's always, like you said, the lore of Cleaver within the Sopranos. I sent you brothers the mockumentary that was a part of the DVD set for season 6, 6B, when they released it. It's like a 4-minute, 5-minute thing on YouTube. You can type it in, "Making of Cleaver," and it's Christopher Moltisanti. So it's not Michael Imperioli talking about it. It's really Christopher Moltisanti and Little Carmine, and it's like they're on set being, like those MTV shows and stuff like that. So it's always fun. You forget that it's this early in the second part of season 6, the premiere and all that. But it was just cool to see them on the other side. Organized crime isn't just, the stuff that you see in gangster movies and all that. They got to find a way to invest and to find other ways to make money, honest money, and that's really what their business is all about. They always try to look for some kind of normalcy and some kind of legitimacy. So it's cool to see them on the other side. And think about it. How many people can just wake up and make a movie? You get a couple people that know a couple of things. Tony told them later in the episode, man, no matter what you did, they can't take that away from you. You made them film. I thought that was pretty dope to see them and the investors and all of this just meeting, not knowing what the fuck they talking about, but still making shit happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point.
And the little thing at the end of the clip, that final shot, I know Little Carmine's daughter brings it up, but if y'all remember, that's the same thing that Furio gave AJ when he came back from Italy. That little figure.
Oh yeah.
When he bought them gifts.
The thing hanging from the rearview mirror is the same exact thing.
Is there any?
What that means?
I'm about to say, is there any theory you got? Maybe Italian culture. Okay,
Chris will write in.
Okay, hey, shout out to Chris Falone. I was just gonna say, Spike, I want you to respond as well. I was gonna say, hey, we're at the 6B part, so anything that if you got any kind of theories, ideas, concepts, I'm here for it because I've been thinking about a lot of stuff watching these lately. So, but anyway, Spike, what you have to add to this scene?
An interesting, from a watcher's perspective, Cleaver was a brilliant idea, I think, to put inside of The Sopranos. Being blessed with knowing what's going to happen, it's been a lot more fun, especially since we talk about it now. Like just observing it when we watch it. And what stuck out to me this time around that I don't think I've ever thought about before, it's very interesting how what's revealed from Cleaver in the sense of not what we see on screen, but just how it makes Tony feel towards Chris and what it's working towards. Like we've been talking about this whole season, like how were we surprised with some of the things that happen when it's right there in plain sight?
Yeah.
And just some of the glimpses in this from the movie and how they're telling that story without actually having the actors say it on screen, how you see like just the effects of some stuff that's happened from the movie, really, really, really well done, I think. So Cleveland, I think that whole idea was brilliant.
Yeah, it is like you said. Cause I'm a nod a few times at Kennedy and Heidi or Heidi and Kennedy. I don't remember exactly which order it is. Rich probably does. He's got that. He's got that. I think
it's Kennedy and Heidi.
Kennedy and Heidi, but I'm gonna reference Kennedy and Heidi a lot.
I might be Heidi and Kennedy. Shit.
Because the names don't really flow together, so it's hard for me to. But anyway, so yeah,
Kennedy and Heidi. Yeah,
Kennedy and Heidi. All right, so I'll reference that. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
The men always come before the. Nah, let me stop. Fucking with y'all. Fucking with y'all.
Oh man,
that's some shit that they would. That's some shit they would have said. It's a bread. I promise. It's a joke. I promise.
It's a joke, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, So, so there was a little thing. There's a poster up that says "Kill the poop." I don't know why, but I did think it was kind of funny that Gigi was killed by his poop. Quotation marks. Well, the lack thereof. But I wanted to ask y'all, do y'all think this would have been an actual good movie release? Or y'all feel like this would be like a good DVD movie?
It's one of those DVD cult classic movies. Like a lot of people wouldn't go to the theaters to see it, but think
there's some Sharknado, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes type
shit like that.
In today's era, it would have been straight on Tubi.
Facts. Would have been a Tubi movie.
One of them legit like Tubi,
Final Destination type shit.
Yeah, like Hulu original maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
Hulu
that.
original. I can see that.
I ain't a
Yeah.
big horror fan anyway, though, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen
Yeah,
this.
I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, this wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been at the movies to see this.
Yeah, I ain't really. I do like horror, but I like I like things that are reasonable, and I don't like overly gore. Like I can deal with like, oh, there's a revenge and somebody people getting whacked, kind of like whatever. But like I don't like overly gore because it's like, okay, we don't need this just so you could flex your special effects team. That's always my issue more than anything. But
For me, horror is just too predictable. Like I don't really like sports movies. I don't like horror films, and I don't like rom-coms because you know what's gonna happen.
I think you got to change your perspective and what it serves for. I think you're
that's what
looking
I'm
for.
saying. I don't enjoy what it's serving. When the rom-com, when it's that, or either when it's horror with fear, or it's just like a sports movie, like with wanting to make you feel rah rah better. Like, come on, bro. We know the team is gonna win at the end.
But you watch sitcoms
Dude's
that you
gonna
grew
get the
up on.
girl.
You know what it is, but it still serves.
You're right. You enjoy being in that place. I think with a sitcom, you enjoy being in that world more. Those are like we talked about on Entourage. On here, these are your friends. You feel like
Yeah,
almost
for sure.
Let me go spend 30 minutes with Fred Sanford and his son, and they wacky fucking salvage yard or some shit. So you know what I'm saying? Versus a movie, just just different from me. I like some rom-coms. Some like there's some that are really well that I will fuck with, but mostly
I feel you. That lines up to Spike though. I mean, we did 100 episodes. I definitely it lines up. So I like to pick at your brain sometimes. But he knows how Chris is doing that thing. Tony calls and Chris is doing that thing where he knows a few terms and trying to just throw terms around. Just to sound smart. When people do stuff like this, like they don't really know what they're talking about. They just happen to know a little bit more terms than you do, so they sound like they got it. You know what I mean? And this is just another thing. I just wanted to add that this is another thing to drop in the Tony versus Chris hat. So, yeah, we go to the next scene. John Sacramone, he's at the doctor's, and we find out that Johnny Sack has stage 4 cancer, and there is no stage 5. He has about, give or take, 3 months, and pretty much he gets bad news. He, gets in the car. He's thinking about a lot of things, and he says after 38 years, he made the change, and for what? He talks about the irony of it, but it's like that's not really irony. That's really how things work. What do you mean you quit after 38 years? You know what I mean? It's like it's a silly line to me, but anyway, I'll come back to that after y'all. What did y'all think about this big reveal? How do y'all remember this in real time when y'all first watched this, and then, or if not, how do you feel this time watching like out of nowhere? Time is moving along, obviously, but like, oh, Johnny Sack, like this is our guy.
Another great way to tell us. Go ahead.
No, I don't have much to add. I was just gonna say I don't necessarily remember that initial feeling, but I think the more you watch this series, everything you just start feeling that finality when it comes to all of these characters. You know what I mean? It all makes sense. We'll talk about it more. I know we touched on it with Tony and Chris, but rewatching this, it's just astounding how obvious all of this stuff is to you. You know what I mean? Like it's that shock factor is going, and they set it up perfectly. So yeah, it's just your last. It was a perfect example of when you find out somebody was in their last days. That's how I felt watching this episode. This is the last time I get to hang out with Johnny Sack. Make the most of it.
Agree with you. It's like one of those, damn, oh my God.
Yeah.
But also one of the great things we always compliment this series on is like how much time has passed. Like they let you know that a significant amount of time has passed since the last time that we was, maybe even since the last episode. Like a lot has happened. Like as far as Johnny Sack having cancer, the movie is made already. Like how long did that take? So really good at like not making you think that they speeding us through it, but also subtly speeding us through it.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we do have to remember last episode that was 10 months that had passed. When they actually brought the show back, and so that all ties in. You know what I mean? Only thing I would say, this is why the Sopranos work well. It makes you want to rewatch certain things. Like I guess I don't ever see necessarily some symptoms of Johnny Sack. Like he could already have had cancer at this point. We just didn't. We missed it because it seems like it. They didn't like try to make breadcrumbs. It just lined up because he smoked cigarettes through the whole series. Like you know what I mean, like or whatever. But yeah, everything that Rich was saying is like, dang, like this is the homie. Like he was in season 1. I always go back to when he was sitting outside of Factory House. He's like, man, you know, can't nobody get nothing past you. Talking to Junior, just making him, you know, feel good about being the boss of the family, and Tony calling him in to help like validate. And it's like, man, this is, you know, just Johnny, like, and then like, I mean, again, we'll get to some later parts where we talk about when he was boss. Like, it's just like, dang, man, I remember Johnny was in his bag. He was like, it's like when we see our OGs where it's like, you get to be around them enough and you're like, man, they still kind of top tier a little bit. They older, but they still pushing. And then after, out of nowhere, they kind of slow down and you start to recognize they're slowing down. And that reality sets in like, oh shit, like, I don't know how much time I got with him because I'm starting to see the chink in the armor. This is like the moment with Johnny, and it's like I remember when you used to drive in the car. You know what I mean? And, you know, so it's one of those moments. Like it definitely was sentimental a little bit for me. I mean, these guys are terrible. Don't get it twisted, but like just from this world and how we deal with it from Good Earnest standpoint, I was like, dang, not Johnny. So yeah.
And another thing I thought that was great, Mo. But another thing I thought too, this nigga rich as fuck. Like you flying to Cleveland to see a specialist. I don't even think this man got health insurance. And like you like
Johnny burn it.
Bad.
Burn it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, nigga. I'm never seeing the light of day again. I might as well do what I can.
Oh yeah, we're gonna burn it all, bro.
Yeah, like, man. It's kind of crazy though.
We got family though.
Johnny
like,
Sack.
I mean, not like that to that degree. Burn it all as far as like y'all already put their funds away and like this is what's left. Run it up. Give me all the commissary I could get. Give me all of the. Man, there's a lot of things I would do if I found that news out. No,
it's nuts. It's crazy, man. That's just
it is. It's real. Like,
I don't even want to think about it. Come on, let's go.
I don't worry about it. You better think about it. So we get to the next scene. We get to the next scene, man. And Johnny, he's visited by his family, Jenny and one of his daughters, and he's having a hard time breaking the news to them. And bruh. Like that like I just can't fathom. And I know you brothers, you know, y'all haven't started your families and stuff. I know y'all plan to maybe, well, at some point, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for you guys. That's why, as I said, maybe not. But nonetheless, if you have, you know, but if you have people around you that you love or whatever, and like you get this information, you know, they care deeply about you, but you care deeply about them, and you know, not just what they mean to you, but what you mean to them and the effect you have in their life. And having this news, it's like, man, you know, like he still has to be in protective mode. Like I gotta still protect y'all from the actual. I can't tell y'all. They said 3 months, give or take. I can't tell y'all that. You know what I mean? Because I gotta protect y'all, and y'all, you know, you probably never hear when it happens.
You
know,
that'll definitely come up later this episode.
Absolutely, and this is kind of a form of that too. Like they didn't hear it, you know, when that, you know, but they were there, they saw it. And so, but yeah, what did y'all think about this scene with him and his family? And, you know, it's really heartfelt.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of sending Johnny Sack out, giving him a lot of screen time, showing him where he is at best with his family. That's when we always like to see him. If he's not negotiating a deal or doing some gangster shit, this is probably the second best place for him to be, because we know how much he loves his wife. We know how much he loves his kid. We saw that at the wedding. So I think they're doing a great job. It's a proper send-off for a character that we see clearly is about to be headed off of the screen. But yeah, this is a great scene.
Yeah.
Great scene. That just shows you that humanity. Everything you just said, Mo, just the idea of just having to share news like that. And as I said earlier, that finality of it, you just know. And that's really, not to get to another week in the books on everything, but that's really how you should be living your life. Like the next day could be your last.
Yeah.
Because we all got that expiration date. It just so happens that he finds out. He knows when his is, or about a good timeline. And it's interesting because a lot of people, if you ask them that question, would you want to know? They don't want to know. Nobody wants to know, really.
Yeah.
You know,
In this scenario, I would, but
he's already sick. He knows that the end is
yeah.
near, so that's different. But just thinking that.
Oh yeah, in general, nah. Cool.
So, but obviously, you see how Tony and obviously, not obviously, but the doctor Warren, explaining it to Jenny Sack, like he wants to have control over his life. He wants to go out the same way he lived and everything like that. So you just start thinking about a lot. Like I said, there's a quote in the movie called The Photograph, where the character said, "Man, I don't recommend getting older. Less people to talk to, more time to think about all your regrets." And that's kind of what we're looking at right now. This is it. How did I end up here, away from my family, in jail? Like, what's my life? A lot of this, when you think about it, a lot of this episode, a lot of the characters are going through that reflective mode. Phil Leotardo's going through it. Johnny Sack's going through it. You even have Warren going through his past and how he ended up from being, one of the top doctors to here in jail in a federal holding. So,
yeah, pristine. Yeah, great point. Because I'm with him. Like they tell him, like, hey, get your hands off, and he like, bruh, listen.
I'd have let an SMD fly. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, what, you gonna give me more time? Huh? Like,
yeah, man, get out of here, bro. I just told my wife I got 3 months to live, man.
Bro, yeah.
Look out my face, bro.
Yeah, like, I ain't got time for it. And then of course he ends up smoking a cig.
Yeah, man, fuck it. I'm out of here. I'm out of here anyway. Fuck it. What we doing?
Yeah, I get it. I totally got it. Like, cause you start to have that thought in your head, like, these are the last moments. What are you gonna do? Like, it ain't no like, okay, things are gonna get fixed. It's over with. So it's like, what are you gonna do? All right, bro, I'm about to max out. You know what I mean? Like, hate me, love me. Hey, I'm out of here regardless.
That's why they give the most vicious criminals last meals, man. Everybody deserve a little decency on your way out.
Facts, on their way out.
Yeah, I get that. Man, hey, come on, hook it up, man. Give me some Henny. No, we go to the Sopranos. We go to the Sopranos dinner, man.
And you don't want it to be called niggas on the throne. That's crazy. You just mentioned Hennessy.
Right.
Hey, man, that's subtlety, man.
Well, last meal too. That's crazy.
Hey, it's subtlety, man. It's like
that's not subtle. That's very.
No, that ain't. But that ain't.
You're saying the thing. You're saying the thing.
But I am saying the thing. But the subtle part is that's not the subject. The subject is the last meal. I just threw that in there. That niggas on the throne. That could be the slogan, but it ain't got to be the title. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, man.
Anyway, yeah, people were really pushing it. That's crazy. If we had niggas on the throne, imagine Apple. Like, the rankings will probably shoot all the way up on Game of Thrones podcast. Just seeing the asterisk in the title would be like, who are these people? You know, if y'all want to talk about,
I'm telling you, man, you just
catch
said
factor, you'll catch people off of that. Like, wait, hold on.
Can't tell me you black Game of Thrones and wouldn't click.
Then
on
you
the
got people like, hey, the people listening like,
hey,
hey, I listen to N-Word on the Throne. You ever heard of that podcast? It's called N-Word on the Throne.
And then when they click on there and they get niggas for real, like it's some real nigga shit.
They're like, bro, they be like, these guys are hilarious because
these are niggas for real.
They niggas, like, they're black. Man, when we get to the Soprano household and they're having the Sopranos dinner. And they're discussing on going to the screening of Cleaver, and Tony is downplaying it, but Carmela is excited about it, and talking about the after party location.
Meat Packers. I'm a happily married man.
I love Tony's little corny dad jokes.
Tony's stupid as hell.
I love it. Very interesting moments here. Tony belches, and he has a moment. I think this is a foreshadowing. I'll come back to that in just a moment. But Tony belches, everybody gets quiet, and I never noticed this scene until now. Blanca, she's looking a certain way and acting a certain way. What do y'all think, bro?
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Shout out to Jordan, man. She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. That's
what Blanca thinks. Well, yeah, Blanca thinking, man, what the fuck? I can't believe I gave this nigga some.
She put it on him too. Like, that's the crazy part.
I do have a question, just something very small, not small because it's obvious in the scene, but did y'all find it weird that everybody stopped and looked at Tony for belching? I know the timing of it, and I know what it means to us, but just he didn't do anything special. He didn't even do like most people do, like the fake cough, like, ugh. Like he just belched. It looked like it was natural. So for everybody at the table to stop and look at him, like it was something. Like maybe that's a sign that hey, we all know that you and Chris, have a contentious relationship right now. So it's odd the fact that we mentioned Chris and you start belching. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to show us that this isn't some hidden secret. Like it's not talked about, but we all see it and we all know it. Because even Carm, the way Carm said everything okay, like she said it, like I know y'all niggas beefing. So what did y'all pick up on that?
I never thought that way. I always thought that it was from the shooting.
That's what I thought.
Like that's what I thought. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense, especially with all the foreshadowing that they've been doing. But I never picked up on that, and it definitely could be.
You could be right though, because remember in this episode he tells Phil, like if I eat anything too spicy, I'm straight to the ER. So maybe that is part of it. Interesting. I don't know.
See, okay, here. This is one of the foreshadowing. Drop an Easter egg here. So he does that, and he's belching. They're like, "Are you okay?" He don't answer anything. But did y'all notice his shirt?
Whose?
What about it?
Tony. So Tony's shirt is a little bit like Made in America. Angle is like flipped the other way, right? So to me, that definitely puts possibilities out there. I never noticed that until now, because there's another theory that people don't use as much, but I listened to that theory and I said that's a possibility, because there's these diet issues that he spoke about so many times, even what Christopher said at the intervention. You know what I mean? So it's like this was kind of one of those moments. But I think the same thing as Spike, like the shooting, and then you got to remember, Tony almost fell out at Mr. and Mrs. Sacramone's invitation. He almost fell out then. So I'm like, I think it's still on sensitivity, even though we're looking at, I guess now, relatively almost a year later. But I think it's still kind of like on, if he ain't. But it's interesting how Tony does, because he does what, like, I think men do a lot. It's like he held it in and kind of like on some, like, I'm not gonna say I'm all right. He just kind of like thugged it out. So he really was in pain for real. That's how I thought. I'm like, nah, that hit him, but he couldn't say he was good. You know what I mean? But he just ain't gonna give them the benefit of saying he's not okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what's up with Blanca, man?
Told you, man.
What's up? What was her expectation, bro?
She saw that last. Spike said it. She saw the last name Soprano, or maybe it was you, Ma. I can't remember. One of y'all said it. She saw the last name Soprano and was like, about to shoot my shot, see where this can get me. And she realized very quickly, this nigga's got to give up bikes to protect me. Like he's not. This is not someone that's going to be a long term. Yeah, exactly.
He's a kid. She used to dealing with men. She used to dealing with men. Like this ain't. And it's a class thing too. I think she's kind of intimidated by like all of this shit. Like she look at their house and them sitting there having Sunday dinner and the fucking the cutlery, the silver, like the cutlery and the plates and shit, the wine they drinking. Like she's intimidated, and it ain't even worth the intimidation. It ain't like I'm with someone and they come from an affluent family and he's gonna inherit it and take it over. Like, nah, this ain't that.
This ain't Pretty Woman.
I got the. This is like what the chicks say on social media when they start dating a guy and they go around his friend group and then they realize that he ain't the ringleader. He the nigga they sent to the store. Yeah, he the nigga they sent to the store. And she like, this is what she's realizing. AJ is the nigga that gets sent to the store. It's like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah.
That's hilarious because that's exactly what it is, man. Chubb's little blunt runner, like whatever it was, Mo. That's, maybe that's terms you'll understand.
Now you're talking my language. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did see what you did there. You just fucked me up because I forgot what I was about to say about Blocker, man. Damn, I don't remember. It wasn't nothing important either way.
Well, here's what I say. Did y'all think it felt way off character for AJ to seem so normal here? Asking Meadow, like, well, who are you taking to the thing, like, to the after party or whatever. Like, he seems so normal.
I think being with Blanca is supposed to show us that he has some purpose. That's on purpose now. He got a reason. He got a reason to get up out of bed and live life and actually accomplish some things because he got somebody who wants to impress.
So he got something
and everything else. Absolutely. And what I was going to say was to Spike's point. Also, I think Blanca's looking at. I see the way y'all look at me. I know y'all think I'm lesser than. I know y'all think my son is lesser than. So why am I putting up with all this for this nigga?
Facts.
Hey, shout out to them for being patient anyway, though, even though they racist. Like the fact that they still was rocking out, letting her like.
To your question, I think this is the best they ever seen their son. Like, so you have to concede at some point. Like, they ain't never seen AJ like you said, being normal and coherent and asking questions and being on time and like doing stuff. Actually,
his beard is lined up. Like,
like AJ
got a regular hairdo.
And WAP woke him up, man. He was in a trance. He was in a trance. She put that WAP on.
Man, hey, listen, that. All right. Anyway, I think it could have been an interesting storyline. Again, we're at the end, so whatever. But it could have been an interesting storyline if she went after Tony. I feel like
she went after. Yo, what the fuck, Mo?
Why not?
Trying to turn this into power or something?
Yeah, why not? You know what I mean? Let's crash out all the way. Like, just go after like Tony on some like nothing never happens, but like on a subtle tip where it's like, oh, I'm playing this whole thing wrong. She catches Tony at the beam. All right, Tony. Here's why Tony would have. No. Here's why.
Wow.
I'm gonna show y'all why. Tony would have because he restrained him. He restrained himself with Adriana. He restrained himself with Kaisha. He wouldn't restrain himself here. After that Melfi session he had, this is the things that I get. This is where he would have let it fly.
If he didn't do it with Adriana, he's not doing it with Blanca. He's not doing that. His son. Come on, man. That would never.
He discussed it at his son. This is my heir. Like,
nah, man. He can't. He couldn't do that.
So if he did it, how would AJ find out? Like through Tony, or would it be
AJ wouldn't even find out, bro? He would never find out because we keep reminded that he's not. You know,
Blanca would definitely tell him to throw it in his face.
Oh, that's after she end things though.
Yeah, that would have been crazy if that happened, and then you get the later scene at the pool.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
That had been the reason.
Come on,
that could have been some heat right there.
Yeah,
that could have been some heat.
That should be wild. That's fucked up, man.
As wild as it seemed, it ain't that wild because she seemed like she got an agenda. To me, so it's not. But
I don't think she's willing to go. I think she quickly realized that she's not willing to go that far for this agenda.
Yeah,
that's why she's acting like it. She quickly realized, no, I'm cool.
Yeah,
this is a wild topic.
I could find some drug dealer. I could find some drug dealer some crack whore in the Bronx.
Yeah, pretty much.
And get way more benefit than I'm
straight up. What you say about my sister?
No.
But
your mother with that? You blow your mom?
With that mouth. What do you say to us? But last thing on this scene, Tony. So Meadow says, "I just want to find somebody normal." And Tony says Finn wasn't normal enough.
Is this what we find out that they broke up?
Yeah, we found out they broke up.
First time it's mentioned.
Yeah. And Tony made a great point because Finn is like mad normal, but I think she's referring to the normal that their normal is, not the normal that she thought she was gonna get into. So glad it's over with her and Phineas. I mean, shout out to Finn. He needed to go somewhere.
Finn was sleeping on the floor when she was right there. Finn been out that relationship.
That's crazy. Sleeping on
Meadow just catching up. Finn seemed like the type too that's way too nice to even want to say like I don't want to break up with you. So he'll drag it out until she breaks up with him.
Yeah, and then he's playing with the options. Like I mean, she could possibly be wifey material. I mean, she's gorgeous. You're playing with the idea.
Definitely, you got to get a Gumar with Meadow. You already know.
Okay, you got to get a Gumar, but him not being like from that claw elk, he definitely got to get a Gumar though. Like you right.
Can Finn? Since we talking about random shit, could Finn pull a Gumar?
No.
Yeah,
he ain't got no sauce.
Like, no, Finn would have a second relationship. I'm talking about a Gumar. Like our only thing is transaction.
Nah, he couldn't do that.
I don't think he could. I don't think he got it in him.
Bro, he was eating hot chili when it was summertime.
With no AC.
He proposed to her because he wanted to go to bed.
Matter of fact, I'll tell you Finn's future. Yeah. I'll tell you Finn's future. Finn is Hugh.
Hugh.
Yep, that's his future. Just looking
Oh,
back and being
Hugh.
like, you know what? Just
Carmela's dad. Okay.
Yep, I just got to take it.
Oh, if he stays with Meadow.
Anybody. That's just Finn's character. Like he's gonna be he's gonna be Hugh. Like I can never see Finn putting his foot down about anything.
Yeah, he's a beta.
Really somebody taking it serious. He said he's a beta.
He is. you nailed it. He's beta.
This nigga said he a beta. Man, keep going, Mo. What the fuck is going on in this episode?
What?
Using the term beta is just hilarious to me.
All right.
To describe Finn. But you're right though. You're right. But it's funny.
That was super random. Sorry. But Johnny Sack is in the bed and we meet Warren.
He's not a dominant man. That's pretty much what you just said.
Pretty much. You know, that's a nice way to put it. You know. Listen. Bro, we meet Warren.
Oh shit. Shout out to Sidney Pollack, man.
That's the actor.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, that was the actor on Entourage, man. They were trying to get his plane to go over to France before they ran into Kanye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sidney Pollack.
Bro, there's a lot of connection to Entourage this episode. I meant to mention something earlier, but that's all right.
Blanca, Sidney Pollack.
The Blanca. There was one more thing that was like not a character thing, but anyway, so bruh, Warren casually saying, let's just get this out the way.
Hey, this white people shit right here.
I killed my wife because I suspected her cheating with her chiropractor. I shot her 4 times, twice in the head. Now I was abusing cocaine and alcohol, and I killed her aunt too because I didn't know she was gonna be there. Then the mailman. At that point, I had
because you got to commit, right?
I got to commit. Bruh, this should not be funny. This is disgusting.
As I'm changing your bed sheets, just randomly, like you said,
just on some real mannerable, like, bruh.
That's some privileged white man shit right there.
Yeah, it is, boy. That is crazy work. Like I was rolling when I heard, because he said it so casually, like, bro, you dropping bodies and you were doing coke, bro, like. And you who knows how many times you did coke doing operations, like, bruh.
This is exactly real quick. This is exactly why actors exist. Because if you read those words on paper, it doesn't. The artistry exists for this reason.
Yep.
Because his delivery, his nonchalantness, is like just about, yeah, man. At that point, I just had to commit. Like that nigga, that's what he really was thinking. Like,
he was really on some Grand Theft Auto. Like, all right,
they give out. Hey, they gonna get the same time for one body as they do for 6. I might as well just drop everybody.
Bruh, I'm having fun at this point. Like, it's crazy.
The fact that
having fun.
There was a great comment about artistry because he bodied this, and the fact that what this show does is like essentially make us not fall in love in his case, but we appreciate just monsters. Like, we know that these people are killers and robbers and murderers. This dude right here, kind of end up rooting for him by the end of the episode. He's a fan of Johnny Sack. He making Johnny Sack feel better. We think he's smart. That's how he's presented on screen. And like you said, his introduction literally was, I killed 3 people for no reason because I was on alcohol and cocaine. But we still fuck with him. It's the Sopranos.
Right.
It's a crazy world.
And to add on, that's not just his introduction. I'm also one of the most revered doctors in my profession. So it's a mix. It's like that duality. Like you have the devil on one shoulder, angel on the other. Like, yes, I saved lives and all that, but I also was on coke and I murked some niggas. Like, straight up.
This is a really good micro character that wasn't here for a while, but a very good representation of the show.
I liked him better than the scientist when Tony was in his
oh yeah. Yeah, for real.
The scientist when Tony was in the hospital. I know a lot of people talk about one-off characters. Shout out to all the YouTube Soprano pages. I don't see him get brought up a lot, but actually Warren is low-key one of my favorites just because the way they do it and the way he performs it, you get the imagination. In my mind, I'm thinking about Nothing to Lose, the movie with Martin and Tim Robbins, and I'm seeing him walk in. You know, when he's seeing he thought it was his wife sleeping, you know, cheating on him, but she had a twin sister or whatever. But anyway, I'm seeing the whole thing with Warren walk in, like, I'm suspecting something, I'm on coke, I'm high, and this is the day he caps her off. Auntie's there at the crib too. What are you doing? Pow, shot her too. I'm leaving the house. There's a mailman right there. Pow, shot him too. Like, I'm seeing the visual based on how he's selling it, you know? Really on some
and went
Grand
to a
Theft Auto.
diner and ordered lunch, probably. They just went to the diner, ordered lunch. They probably caught that nigga at his house. He didn't even try to run or nothing.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's when you just know. You just throw away the whole, throw away the privilege.
He probably went and got him something to eat, and then by the time he got to the crib, the police was up.
Bro, I remember getting so high at a job, bro. I was like, man, I just straight left the job. And I was like, I'm just gonna throw the whole job away.
Just mid shift. That made it tracks.
I'm just throw the whole job away.
You've done that with emails before, so I know that you.
I just threw the whole job. I just threw the whole job away. Like I'll put in applications tomorrow when I come down.
Walking out mid shift is crazy.
Mo, hey, I ain't gonna hold you. Nigga. Mo got 30 at the end of the first quarter, man. Mo cooking today.
That nigga said I did that with a job.
I just threw the whole job away. Like it's so wit. It's so wit.
Sort of like the email. This fascinates me. What was it?
What
was it? I know there's probably a build up of things. What was it at that particular moment when you was just like, you know what, fuck this shit? Because I've done that.
I was on edibles. I never did that before.
Ah, you was high.
Yeah, like I was on edibles, and I was like, oh, this is like real drugs, bro. Like I like in my mind, I like long story, man.
Hey, man, between that shit and between the fact that this nigga casually, why this nigga changing his sheets is casually talking about confessing to 3 murders. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm here. We here now.
I wonder. Now, let me ask you this. We know that he knows who John Sacramone is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's almost like going up to an athlete and talk about your athletic days or something, like making some kind of common interest, like, ooh, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is why I'm in here in these murders? Because there's no reason as to why he could have let John ask him. Like, that's not a story that I'd just be readily eager to jump into, unless you want to brag about, I got a couple bodies under my belt too, John. Like, what?
He said, let's get this out of the way, as if he thought John was going to be asking about him for some reason.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure he gets like, why is the doctor in here?
That's prison culture, though. I imagine. What you in for?
Yeah, you do supposed to.
Not only that, but there's certain people you look at and like, what the fuck you do to get in here?
Exactly. That too.
He would.
You know what I mean?
People like,
and then they hit you with one of them stories. You be like, that's happened to me before. You're like, oh shit, okay.
Oh, okay. You for real?
Got your big dog.
Hey,
got your big dog.
You think the doctor's like trying to build, some relationships in here because like we're gonna be in this thing for a while. So
like these are, hold on, man. I'm sorry, but these are real people. He just casually he talking about killed her aunt too. Like, people caring about her aunt.
Bro, the mailman.
You know what I mean? People cared about her aunt. People cared about the mailman. And this nigga's just like, I had to commit. Fuck,
I just ran at the wrong time that day. Like I usually be 5 minutes early. I would have missed all of this shit. Now I'm hearing this bullshit.
This nigga had to lose his life because he went on a wrong stop at the wrong time. Unless they were, like damn.
I'm dropping envelopes off. I'm dropping envelopes off.
Hey, that would have been a David Chase line. I killed the mailman too, but he was black, so
that feels more. That's more accurate. That's what I was looking for.
That would have been a great line.
Yeah,
that killed the mailman too, but he was black.
Yeah, at that point. But yeah, so
and Warner, he insubordinate too. That's if you're Dr. Gupta, if I'm pronouncing his name correct, Gupta. Mm-hmm. That shit. If I'm him, that shit would piss me off. So, bruh, stop undermining me and what I got going on. Yeah, bruh, mop the fucking floor and get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, you are inmate number.
Yeah, like come on, man. Like nigga, why ain't in your like Chris said to Bodie, why ain't in your repertoire no more, nigga? Yeah. Don't worry about why.
Yeah, yeah, nigga. We go
shout out to the Wire, man. Always gonna make a Wire crossover.
Yeah, come on.
I was wondering how I was timing in my head mentally how far we was gonna get this episode.
It's coming every time.
Yeah,
I know people
usually get one off before then.
That's why it's gonna be so interesting to see when we reveal what the next show is. If it isn't The Wire, you know what I mean, then it's gonna be even crazier to people. I feel like where it's like, I for sure thought y'all was doing that. The way y'all reference it, So
no, we're definitely not doing it. I'll tell y'all right now, we're not doing The Wire next.
Oh well, you heard it here first.
I'll tell you, I can shut that down right now.
You need more time.
I've already talked to Spike. That's gonna be like my life work. That's gonna be the Sistine Chapel. Yeah, that's Sistine Chapel. That's gonna be one of them.
That's probably like after the next.
That's your Magna Carta.
That's one of those like, what else is there to even podcast about? After I finish it, it's like, what else is there to even talk about?
I feel you. It's like, yo, go or go home. Like, it's like if this ain't it, then it's it. That's it. But we get Agent Harris visits Tony about terrorists whistleblowing, and Tony snaps about. Well, they do this whole thing, and I want to have some conversation about Agent Harris, but not at this point. That'll be something later. I've seen people, YouTubers, do like videos on how their relationship changed and how they grew closer, but nothing settles enough for me. So we'll have a conversation when we get there. But Tony, eventually, once Agent Harris leaves, Tony snaps about getting the paper because he says it's dangerous. And now we're getting into the world of Sopranos where they're starting to think about things like living and staying out of jail. I feel like that's how you really know we're getting in a different place. Johnny Sack reflecting. I mean, we ain't got there yet as far as how will people remember me, but we're starting to get to that point where it's like dudes in the streets on other shows or in real life. It's like in this moment, it's like you start thinking about you always looked at civilians like losers, and now you're kind of looking at like, no, they actually got it better. The happy wanderer concept that we seen in season 2. So I don't know. It's something interesting to me, like when Tony talking about it's dangerous to get the paper, but like that wasn't dangerous in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So wrapping things up. Is there anything I want to add to this scene?
Just briefly, it's funny that he thinks that the Fed showing up before a general conversation that has nothing to do with him is dangerous. Out of all the other things that could happen, that's the one thing that he labels as dangerous. Which goes to your point, Mo, like going to jail or potentially going to jail is just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than somebody waiting outside. Because you don't expect that. You don't expect somebody to come and get you at your crib. Yeah. Only other time we really seen somebody pull up, other than the Feds, was Big Pete when he came back from being missing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think there's a certain culture in this world where you don't get it at the crib, especially if you have a family. Like if you're worthy of that, I guess. And what I mean by that is if you're a boss, a high level person, I think if you're a nobody, you're somebody like Benny, yeah, you ain't even made. You can get got wherever.
Yeah.
But him running into the Feds and them saying that's too dangerous and going off about it, like just the fact that they got access to me and they up here asking me questions and they asked me to cooperate. Like, how dare y'all? Who the fuck y'all think I am? What do you think I do? But it also says a lot that he's even,
consider.
He doesn't cuss them out.
Yeah. Keep a pin in that because I do want to. Maybe y'all brothers can enlighten me on the Tony and Agent Harris thing.
And you trying to get my daughter involved?
Well, I feel like
either you're trying to get my daughter involved, or you're trying to convince me to do it because my daughter takes the tunnels and something. This could easily happen to her.
Yeah, that's what he was getting at. I felt like the latter. What you said, like he was getting at, like after you walked
bro, don't do that.
Like,
yeah, chill out, bro. Relax.
Mm-hmm. He got it all. We go to the Cleaver screening, and little Carmine's talking about this is their baby and all that, and Chris gets up there. This wouldn't happen without this one man. Bro, it's crazy because you think it's a dope like flex to like give credit to your boss, but now when we look at the optics after the fact, it's like, oh man, shout out to you for real, Tony. And
funny.
They shout out, exactly, funny how, and they shout out everybody but JT, who wrote the film. They recognize that Tony is the main character, or at least the inspiration of the main character. And everything is all good until Ro looks at Carm. And, bruh, Edie Falco doing that look was priceless. I said, bruh, that is excellent acting. Because the look, she went through the transition of emotions of, like, looking at the scene and she's like, oh, that's you. And she's looking at it like, oh, that's – and she processed it and realized, like, oh, like, bruh, that was excellent.
I was just gonna ask you, Mo. Do you think she picked that up on her own, or do you think it took Ro for her to realize what was up?
It took Ro. It took Ro.
I think she was more. I think she picked it up on her own. She was just upset that Ro picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the embarrassment. It's never the act. It's always the embarrassment of the act.
Let me take a look now because that's a good point too.
While you're taking a look to that point, Rich, I would say we talked about being good friends or whatnot. If you're Ro, do you let that turd just float in the fruit punch, or do you say something about it like she did? Because there's this thing with
Ro can't help herself. She can't help herself. Yeah, she got to. You gonna let her play in your face like that? Because it's not about Tony. It's about Chris. That's the odd thing about this. Even though they're using Tony as the avatar for the bad guy, The anger is directed towards Chris because you didn't have to tell that story. You didn't have to put that in there. You didn't. If you never put this in there, then Rose not looking back at me, wondering like, what the fuck is going on.
Good point.
And sometimes it's not even. Not everybody has to know, but the people that do know, that's bad enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I looked at it. So Carmela's face, Ro looks at her and she kind of does that like head shake, like, man, come on, bro. And Carmela was looking and she was like, what? And then she looked back at the screen and then it seemed like it resonated like, oh, this whole thing is Tony. Like, I think it was like, oh, this is a nod to Tony in the basement with him throwing the glass, you know, whatever. Like, oh, it's a nod to Tony, what he does in his basement. But I think at that point, it's like, oh, this whole thing. So the way that her look, because she looked at it and she looked at the screen and then to me, so it could be what Rick's saying is like the embarrassment. So it's like I thought about it, but I'm so used to burying things with him. It's whatever. But the fact that you notice there's a possibility. But I think the possibility is the fact that it didn't even resonate that, oh, this whole thing. That's why I think she talks about a revenge film like later, because it's like when she realized at that moment when she looked at her, she's like, oh, this whole thing is Tony and this whole thing is Chris. You know what I mean? I think that it was at that moment where she locked in and the lens changed for her. So I don't think she was looking at it like that per se until Ro gave her that look and it was like, oh, you know, in my opinion, but it could be the other way. It still works.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think Carmela just knows Tony too well. I just think it's one of those things she didn't want to acknowledge, but she knew.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at her expression too, I agree. I think that she knew, but it bothered her that Ro knew too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
the fact
that's
that
what it is.
and the fact that you looking back at me, because she was already looking kind of funny, and then you looking back at me, it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would have whipped. Me and Paula would have had words.
Probably wild.
Paulie seemed like the type of nigga to answer his cell phone in the movie.
100%. And dare you to say something to him.
Yeah. Like it get way out of hand for no reason.
Mm-hmm. He gonna yell. He gonna look at you like you in the wrong for him talking.
Yeah, like for saying something to him.
We go to the after party and Tony says that he's proud of Chris. And you know, they take the family, they're taking a photo at the after party, and you know, this definitely obviously is post John Gotti era. You know, that's something I felt like needed to be acknowledged because what he represented, you know, as far as the mainstream level of being a mobster. You never mentioned this thing of ours. Then obviously Blanca was getting triggered for real. It seems like Larry Boy gets arrested for violating his parole.
The last time we see Larry Boy too.
Yeah, dang. And then Phil Leotardo and Tony talk, and Phil is wanting to step down and says, you know, it's a young man's game. These are these precursors, these foreshadowings, these things to consider. Like everybody's considering things, like Rich said earlier. What did y'all think about this scene?
Shout out to Carmen her dress, man, for movie night.
Oh yeah, did that.
And I never noticed how short AJ was. Like AJ shorter than Carmen.
Oh, is
so
it?
That's why. Yeah, like when you look at that scene when it's him, her, and Blanca, they kind of walking right before she asked Tony if she wants to make him a plate. I'm like, damn, man, AJ kind of short.
I never realized that. He is, yeah.
I think this is more so about, hey, it's more that fake shit, man. Like, so you see Chris and like, I don't really know how to explain that feeling, and I don't know if anybody's ever going through it where you got your mans, y'all got deep history in this situation, family, but your relationships change, and both of you are too stubborn to really just sit down and talk about it. Like one conversation about what's really going on and how you feel might change things, but it's already, you've held it in so long, it's already reached a point of no return. Mm-hmm. So you try to show up for,
yeah. It's Avon and String on the roof.
Yeah, Avon and String on the roof. Like, I'm still proud of you. We can still have these.
Avon and String on the Roof is the ride with Tony and Chris, I feel like. When they was having that conversation.
I feel
like that's more of them two on the roof.
When we get there, we can discuss.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that whole, you know, Tony, I'm proud of you, no matter what you did. And I thought they had a real cool nod. which I think they were really talking about the Sopranos in the grand scheme of things when he said 100 years from now, we're dead and gone. People will be watching this fucking thing.
Kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, huh?
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall in a bit. And just having that moment and obviously catching up with Phil. Knowing that Phil ain't the same Phil, he had to go down and have his quintuplet or however many quadruple bypass surgery.
Yeah.
He's out the game. We saw these new faces who's up for the big boss chair in New York. Phil talking about he don't want to take it. He's not really endorsing his protege. It's kind of like, it is what it is. And Tony, from the business side, is like, yo, well, we need somebody that we like and know in this position because this is our bottom line as well. So you just got a lot of politicking going on. And obviously Larry Boy getting arrested, like you said. I think the Phil and Tony conversation is really the main point of this.
Yeah, and it's very nonchalant. Like the Phil's approach to this and how nonchalant he is versus how it continues to plays off is a very good like smoke screen. Like if you're looking at this now and you're looking like, okay, Phil, like you don't want to do it. Like I get it, but really good smoke screen. Do y'all believe him right here? Like did y'all believe him?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you remember the conversation Tony had with him? I mean, now again, like we're talking about. There's a 10-month gap, so we're talking about maybe a year ago when you were in the hospital. And, Tony was like, we talked about already, like nobody's on their deathbed talking about more no-show jobs, So he's telling my man, you have your grandkids, you can have it all, Phil. And I think that really resonated for Phil, where it's like, I never thought about anything outside of this thing of ours. And now, like, you're older, he's 60 plus. So it's like, bro, I'm cool, and then we're going to see even later, like all of that old school jargon, that old school code, nobody's keeping it, which was obviously Chris's issue when he was talking to Kaisha, like nobody's keeping the code, and we're going to see that in this episode. Like, but yeah, I felt where Phil was coming from. It's like, bro, look, I'm trying to find a way to ease out, just like Tony, really. That's why where we get with them two always throw things off. But the beauty and how we review this, it brings us back to our memory. Like, hold up, this didn't just start. Let's go back to where it started. You know what I mean? Because without it, it's always like, I never thought they would get to this point.
Yeah, I do find it fascinating. Now that you said that and I'm thinking about it, do we believe Phil? Yeah, you do. But you also believe him in a way that you believe your boy who always been doing dirt. He tell you, oh man, I'm really gonna change up this time. I promise. Like like you in your head, I think you mean what? Like I believe that you believe this. Like, I believe that you believe this right now. But I know you well enough to know this is short term. This is gonna be short lived. You're gonna be doing the same shit you always been doing since I've known you. And I think that's why they actually put this scene next to the scene about who's gonna take over New York. Phil Leotardo's got to be disappointed with the state of affairs, the whole nine. They're setting it up as, yeah, Phil don't want it, but we see he's the best person. And it's going to find a way to where he takes what's his. I just think it's interesting.
The thing why I like that comparison, but I don't see it the same way because Phil doesn't feel like he's power hungry. Like he never felt like he's front. He
Phil Leotardo?
I think it's intentional. I think that's intentional. I think that's a great job of the show telling you that maybe the same way the show took Tony and lightened him out after everything that happened in the hospital. Every day is a blessing, right? You still Tony Soprano. After a while, this is going to wear out. We talked about that on the show. Like this is just your state of mind. And think about it. Phil just went through the same thing Tony, near-death experience did, right? I'm looking at life differently. I want to play with my grandkids. But after a while, people got to be who they are in this world. That's not Phil who he is to a core. We talk about Johnny Sack, right? He wants to live the same. He wants to go out the same way he lived. He can try to be something else, but he ain't. That's still John Sacramone. That's still Phil Leotardo, regardless of what's put in front of him.
Here's the thing. I think this is who the real Phil is. I think at the end of the episode, we get into it's like, okay, bump it. Being the real Phil is why my little brother Billy got killed, why these things have happened, why these things transpired in my family. So bump it. I'm not gonna be the real Phil. I'm gonna be the Phil that I need to be. That's how I see it.
Not to cut you off, I don't look at that as him being a real Phil. I look at that saying like this is what my service and honor to this thing of ours got me. I'm the only person playing by the rules, and look where that got me. I don't know. I think that's his real morals. I don't think that's. I think the real Phil would have bucked all this shit, kicked all this shit to the curb, and would have been wild out. but I respect this thing of ours so much that I'm gonna play by the rules. I respect the tradition, all of this. But if it was up to me, we saw how he wanted to get after Tony B.
Yeah.
Hey, nigga, the real Phil wants to fucking take your head off. The real Phil is the one that came out the closet and got Vito. That's the real Phil. I'm stepping outside the lines.
Well, but that still honored this thing of theirs. That wasn't
Killing Vito did not honor this thing of theirs.
No, it did though.
Yeah, but you making
you see what I'm saying? Like
I get what you're saying, but you can't have it. You want it to be one way, but it's the other way.
No, because Phil is old. He's from the old school. Back in the day in the mob, how they was. If they found out this information, you whacked. Like that's he comes.
Yeah, but
from
you don't take
for 20 years.
But you also don't overstep and take out somebody else in another family. You don't take out made men without permission. That's not part of this. That ranks higher than that. You still got to get permission to take out who you want to. Now, the difference is, Mo, usually when you said that, it's an automatic green light. You don't have to wait for any kind of red tape. You can just do it, but you still got to get the permission. You can't just wax a made man and then come back and say, I did it because of this. Well, guess what? It's too late. You ain't asked permission, so now you part of it too. Because we can't let this go on because now everybody is going to be doing it and making up with their own decisions or own reason as to why they did it and explaining it later. You lose order in that. You lose. Go ahead.
No, I say it's so tricky because I mean, Phil, even before 20 years prior, before prison, capos would get whacked, under the table, because they kind of get around it a little bit. Like even then, as far as you don't put your hands on the made man, but nonetheless, people, like I've talked about the Gravano thing or whatever, they kind of get around it, so it's like whatever. But yeah, that's a good point. You make a good point. So I don't know. I guess y'all hit us up like, who's the real Phil? Is the real Phil this Phil where he's because we seen a few episodes ago. It's like whack a boss. I won't do that, and they was like, people have done it before, and he was like, I'm not doing that. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. Like now, I mean, obviously when we get to the end, it's like. Boom, so, but you make a good point. That's
just an honor, man. Yeah, he found out he's the only one. He found out he's the only gangster outside. He's the only real gangster that really follow these rules. And he was like, you know what? Since y'all playing, fuck it. What's the point? What good has this gotten me?
Yeah. I mean, I lost my brother. Whatever happened there.
Whatever happened there. Whatever happened there.
That animal.
That animal Blandetto.
But yeah, we see that Tony meets the actor that is playing like a version of him or whatever.
Is that a real Baldwin?
Absolutely,
yeah, that's a real Baldwin. Yeah, you can see the resemblance. Like it's dead.
I'm gonna say he looked like him. If it wasn't, that was great cast.
Yeah, if he wasn't, that would have been a deep
cut. That's Danny Baldwin.
Yeah, that'd been a deep cut. Yeah, we go to the next scene, and we see on the news they talk about Johnny Sack's successor and who could possibly be. And Elliot says that he called it a year ago. Obviously this is a seed planet. One more small nugget that I want to acknowledge before y'all respond, that it would easily get overlooked. The news people say, what about Carmine Jr.? And one to say, I was just about to say that before you interrupted me. That goes back into the possibility of our theory. Because that was so subtle, you would miss it if you're not doing what we're doing. And it's like, why would anybody bring up Carmine if they're keeping up and they understand the street war that happened between Carmine and Johnny Sack? And so the fact that they say that, and there's a later, when we get to Carmine, I'm going to bring up something that's an interesting correlation. So I thought that was just a subtle, what about Carmine? So I thought that was a real subtle thing. But is there anything I wanted to add to this scene with Elliot and his wife watching the news about, the mob, obviously?
The fact that Elliot obsesses over this. Not only does he I called this a year ago, having a conversation with maybe his wife, girlfriend, whoever that is. The fact that he knows enough to even call out who he thinks the next boss is going to be. And then it's such a big reveal in the sense of, it's like, oh, this is why he's so with Dr. Melfi, because he's into this mob shit. And another point about being at the end of things and how far they've even fallen from this point, you wouldn't even see anything about the mob on the news now. They running a whole legit special with a dude with a book who they about to talk to for 15 minutes about the next mob boss in New York. They're so far from that right now. It's insane to even think that that was even a thing at one point, that people were talking about the mob on the news. And that's just a wild scene to me in the sense of where we've come with mob culture.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great
it's
point.
real. It's real. It's mainstream now.
Well, it ain't even around now, I don't think.
Well, I'm saying at this point, I'm saying like as far
Mm,
as this point in time, it's
got you.
mainstream. Like they're
I
getting
was just
on.
thinking about it from like now today's standpoint. Like you don't even see any of this stuff no more. This stuff used to be common back in that point in time. Like you said, mainstream. This was post John Gotti, and now people are like following this shit, writing books. It's like a whole. I think this is a very directed way from David Chase at saying like, this is the glory days as far as covering it, not far as being in it, but far as people having knowledge of it and looking at TV about it and writing books about it, making predictions. It's wild.
Yeah, this show, and it feels that way because we love. There's a peak era in the Sopranos. You know what I mean? I think I would always say from 2 to 4 is like peak era. You know what I mean? Where obviously and then of course 6B, but like 2 to 4 is like the full identity of these introduced characters of the Richie April's, the the Gigi's, the Ralph Cifarettos, and some of the Gumars and all that, like all that, the White Cap episodes, all of that, Tracy, that's the peak era. You know what I mean? That's still golden era. Tony's still laughing about stuff, still joking, having fun. We're not having fun now. It's like it's real. Like I got to start thinking about how to insulate myself in this thing, as he talked to Bobby about in Soprano home movies. So,
Zero fun, sir.
Zero fun, sir. Good call back. So Johnny's brother-in-law visits and gets his affairs in order, and they're going through the whole thing, and Johnny Sack's trying to see where he stands as far as his street credibility. And there's a funny comment the brother-in-law says that OJ is no less of a running back, which is really good just in the sense that that's right, and it also is a callback to that flashback Christmas episode where they, Jackie April Sr. was talking about, man, I hope they fry his ass when they had OJ on the news or whatever.
That reminds me of a Chappelle joke when he's talking about meeting OJ, and there's a woman that said, "How could you shake that murderer's hand?" He said, "Man, with all due respect, that murderer ran for over 10,000 yards."
Yeah. He's like, "Thank you, nice to meet you." Like, bro,
that shit's silly, bro.
It is. He's good.
Yeah, I was about to say something. Never mind. Let me stop. Let me chill.
Say it now, forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my peace.
You hold your peace. All right, fair enough.
I'm gonna hold my peace.
All right. But Johnny asks how will he be remembered, and the brother says that for the most part, with the exception of when you were boss, you were a bit of a hot-headed and trigger happy. And John says it's a thankless position. And I think that all ties into what I feel like feels like, and then also Tony, you all due respect, you have no idea what it's like to be number one. Every decision you make, that whole spiel, Johnny Sack was going through it too. So it kind of, again, sending this character off resonates, was like, this is why Johnny Sack was OD, where he was like, dang, bro, you kind of doing too much. He said, y'all don't even understand what it's like to be in that position, so thankless position. Anything I want to add to this scene?
We didn't really talk about it specifically when we first met Warren, but just what the idea of hope gives someone, especially someone who's desperate for hope.
Yep.
You holding on to that really more than what you should, and even the people around you, like, man, come on, the wife murderer, come on, he's still a doctor, he's still a respected oncologist. Just the idea, Johnny Sack had accepted the fact that it was 3 months, and just the idea of him saying you could have, up to 2 years, maybe even more. He's really holding on to that. But that just shows, I also like how this scene shows who Johnny Sack is. Yes, I could have a couple years, but I'm still about my business. So let's take care of this now, just in case it is only a few months. Because once I'm out of here, we can't do none of this. And Jenny and my family, it's over. I know Jenny well enough to know she gonna blow through that money.
She in a motel
in the
right
first
now.
in the first couple years. Yeah, so we gonna put her on a stipend. We gonna control the spending, make sure she good. Um, and obviously, just the big thing you just discussed, Mo. Like when you get towards the end, how we gonna be remembered, man? I love the game. I love the nigga. I could be one of Mitch, man. If y'all don't pay the fool, man. That's Mitch talked about that in the speech.
Like one of them ball
Fans,
playing niggas.
yeah, man. The fans, nigga. If I leave, is the fans still gonna love me?
Still gonna love me, man.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. We get to Carmela and Tony, and Carmela does the thing that women do better than any of us. Open our eyes and see. Carmela single. Y'all gonna get this a few times. Carmela single-handedly might be responsible for Kennedy and Heidi. LOL. For acknowledging that this is a revenge fantasy. Talking about the movie Cleaver. Anything I want to add to that?
I think Tony was genuinely. Go ahead, Spike.
I was just gonna ask a question as far as did y'all think that Tony really didn't know? Like did when she put that together for him, you think that was his first time thinking about that? Somebody who watches movies all the time?
I think so.
I don't think that was his first time, but I think that was he has to do this. He has to. He has to. Like there's no other response to what Tony does. Play it off like, what are you talking about, huh? I never even picked up on that. Nah, you crazy.
Thought never even entered my head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do. I think all these characters, like, they have weak spots. We can't think every character is always on top of things. Because when Tony met with Barone, remember he was trying to read if he had a wire or not, and Tony still couldn't. How am I supposed to know? Like, remember he said, if anybody gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And he's like, how am I supposed to know when he got back to the Bing? So I think there are weak spots for them not to know things. I think in this moment, I think he's just looking at it like satire, like, oh, this is funny. Like, oh, this part in the robe in the basement, that's me. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, let me stand corrected, because the way she says, which ends with the boss's head getting split with a meat cleaver, and kind of that look on his face, like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm just now realizing this is how he painted me, and this goes straight into the next scene with him going to Seal and ask him what he thought about the movie, what he thought about the boss, and all. So Tony, I think you're right. Tony had never thought about this movie's about me.
He think it's generic, like it's generic.
Yeah.
There's Godfather, Scarface, all the movies they've been discussing throughout the series. He's not thinking about it like, oh, this is literally about me. And it's funny, you go back to the Kaisha episode where she was like, hey, you need to scale back a little bit. And he really didn't scale back, because when you look at the scene with the mistress and the character, the bald one that's playing like a Tony-esque character, the background looks just like the Bing, in the back of the Bing, to be specific. Like, I was looking at it, I was like, bro, this looks almost exactly like the Bing. So I was like, oh, bro, you really are diabolical in the sense that, you put the devil in the details, bro.
That looked like the Crazy Horse, honestly. The scene with
the Crazy
girl.
Horse. Yeah,
that looked like the Crazy Horse.
Yeah. The Crazy Horse. That's what I meant. Good call. That's what I meant. It looked exactly like the Crazy Horse. I'm like, and so you nailing it and giving your depiction like that. But that's why I said Tony, the way he looked, he was like, wait, what? Well, you think that's about me?
Yeah, you're right.
Because he's so over it, because it's like, if Tony didn't do anything, there's no focus on it. He's not trying to get ahead of it. He's genuinely oblivious. You know what I mean? But when he does something, he's going to try to get ahead of it. So I feel like he was genuinely like, oh, you think that's about, I didn't even, you know what I mean? So, but again, like I said, yeah.
About Chris's decision making to put it in there, since we're here now. Do y'all think that that's something he should have did? Or should he have left that? Like, shouldn't at some point in this process, and it speaks to how Tony feels about Chris, like, shouldn't at some point in this process, who you are and what you're affiliated with and what that may say, if you put this part of it in the movie, shouldn't it click for you to be like, nah, we ain't going that far?
It should, but this is Chris trying to be Harper and Best Man. You're trying to change the stories. You're trying to put all the shit in this book.
Unfinished
and
business.
You trying to hope that your people who it's about doesn't know that it's about them. And you see right away that everybody reading and know exactly who it's about and what's going on. You're not as smart as you think you are, bruh. He's trying to get his subtle nod and take his shot. His disdain for Tony is this strong to where, as they say later in the episode, yes, this is the legacy I want to leave. I want to make some art about you and what I really think about you. Right? And he thinks that, I can pass this off. And that's really almost the most disrespectful thing. He thought he could have passed this off where Tony wouldn't notice. And he was right. It's the fact that other people knew. The same way Mia knew and Best Man, the same way that Terrence Howard's character knew Q. Like, they all knew as part of reading the book. Like, nigga, you ain't slick.
Yeah, nigga, you ain't slick.
Yeah, like, bro, what you thought was going to happen? You just had to put this shit in the book. Shit, even Lance read that shit on at the bachelor party and knew exactly what was going on, nigga. Exactly. Nigga, you fucked Mia.
Yeah, you're right.
So the fact that you thought the fact that you were so caught up in your own thoughts, your own world, and think you so much smarter than everyone that you couldn't see how obvious this was, tells you everything. And on the lowest of keys, the same way this said what Chris says thinks about Tony, that's low key what he thought about Lance and his fan group. Like, you just putting it out on words. You're kind of a devious, foul motherfucker, but he wild for that. Chris wild for all this shit.
Dirty motherfucker. But I like that, Holmes. I like that. One of my favorite little parts. Crazy. So that's why I feel like Tony didn't know, but that reaction, like I said, is like, okay, it locked in. And when that happened, that is like it's about to begin to be the nail in the coffin. The cherry on top, so to speak. We get to the next scene, and Tony is talking to Sil at the Bing. And
the cherry on top is nuts.
I mean, shout out to Bobby Bacala. Tony's fishing, and Sil is so good at holding back his words and showing his expression. Did y'all think Sil was getting at? Like, did you think Sil already picked this up, but he just wasn't saying nothing? Like that's you and Adriana?
Yeah, facts. You can tell by his response to it. And what's beautiful about Sil and Tony's relationship is you can tell that Tony knew that he knew without him even saying it. Like, their shorthand is so strong in the sense of that's your homie. Like, when y'all can give each other a look sometimes, and both of y'all know what that look mean. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this was great. And Sil definitely, if Sil didn't pick it up on his own, his wife told him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, that's how he knew.
Gab definitely
told him in the car.
And I just, real quick, I just thought it was ironic that Tony approached that conversation in the Bean the same way another character approaches the conversation in the Bean. Like, it's so obvious. You think you full, like, bruh, I see right through it. You so obvious, Tony, as to what you're doing right now. To Spike's point, like, Sil's like, all right, I know where this is going. Let me go ahead and exit stage left right now. Yeah, I don't know nothing about none of that.
Because remember last time Sil spoke up, Tony put him in his place. He's like, what? He's like, it's 7 deadly sins. Yours is pride. He's like, all due respect. Then that's when Tony said, all due respect. He goes to the spiel. So I think ever since that conversation, Sil kind of left it on the table like, all right, I'm not bringing nothing else candid to you again. We just gonna roll like this. So so Chris, I guess this is his new sponsor. He's no longer
Shooter McGavin, my nigga Shooter.
Hey, shout out to him. Big actor.
You don't know what movie that is, do you?
No.
Oh wow. Do you know Christopher McDonald?
The actor?
Yeah, the dude.
Yeah, I've seen him. I don't remember where I've seen him, but he was in a show. Maybe 24 or something. I don't know.
Not know Shooter McGavin. Oh man, Mo. Sheesh.
Who is it?
We can keep going, man. I'm not even gonna harp on it.
I don't know.
I'm not even gonna harp on it, man.
Who are these guys?
Be like, let me tell you right now, Mo. You were going to get an email about that.
I
don't know who it is. Someone is going to write you.
They gonna definitely be like, yo.
Somebody's going to write you and ask you about not knowing Shooter McGavin.
Yeah. Oh, I know who this dude is.
Oh, you got it.
I know who this dude is. This dude from Big Daddy.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. Okay. Yeah, but yeah. He was the golf the protagonist. Yeah, okay. Guys kept saying that. Where does this dude look familiar from?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? Come on,
I
y'all.
pieces,
The new Happy Gilmore coming out.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Breakfast? Huh? Oh man. So yeah, we get that Chris is meeting with his new sponsor, and it's a real insightful scene. Really insightful. Everything is there's a lot of foreshadowing. Chris says that it's like he's living someone else's life. But which life is my question?
Wire reference, if I could here. That ain't the game, man. Like, nigga, you ain't signed up for this shit. Like, nigga, they think he Pat Riley over there in that suit and shit calling plays. Nigga, put that clipboard down. Ain't nothing even on the clipboard. That's how I feel about Chris right here. Like when Avon went off, like that ain't the game, man. Like, this not the game, bro. Like, it's cool. And I can't remember who put it in on the emails. Like this whiny, bitchy, like this Chris right here, like, bro, get the fuck out of here, my nigga. Yeah, it's tough being a gangster, homie. That's why everybody can't do it. There is no conscience in this thing that we do, bro. This is above all for you. So all those revelations that you come into, all this shit that you trying to be a better person, that shit will get you killed. Stop playing. Leave this movie shit alone and get back to the gangster shit. That's what somebody close to him that knows what he do need to tell him. You playing with your life right now, bro.
Tony already told him in season 2. Yeah. I mean, he told him, he's like, bro, I'm gonna give you 15
minutes.
And he
kept going. Now,
think about it.
You can't even hang no more. Like, we talked about this on this podcast specifically before. One of the parts of this job is being around. Nigga, why you pop up every now and then? Now I gotta wonder about who you talking to when you ain't here. What you got going on, bro? Like, you keeping money from us, you talking to the police, they done flipped you as an informant when the whole time you just trying to make your life better. And that's commendable if you're not in the mob, but you are. Yeah. And it ain't no way out, bro. So, like, forget all of this bullshit you talking about. But you got this nigga right here who's a civilian talking to him, like, patting him on the back, like, yeah, regular people do feel this way. Yeah, but he not a regular person. So shut that shit up. Pick your chin up, chest out, head back, and take your ass back to the bean, nigga.
Oh, man.
Perfect.
There's one thing. They notice a Fed outside, and Chris says that he drops in and out. It's fun. Is this another possibility for another possibility?
It could be. It could be. I never thought about it, but it could be.
Mm-hmm. And even they said earlier, we talked to Chris.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it could mean a lot of different things.
It could, but why that will feel like sloppy on their end if it could be the other thing.
Unless we want you to think.
Unless we want to say, we want the bigger fish.
We talked to Chris too. We talked to Chris.
Like, what I'm saying, like, pin one against the other. Because it doesn't make sense.
Just even putting that doubt in your mind. Now, like, that's the disgustingly manipulative thing that police do. So, like, now I put this doubt in Tony's mind, and now what I'm hoping for is he probably treat Chris different. And now what I'm hoping for is I catch Chris doing something. And now what I'm hoping for is Chris, because Tony been treating him different, because Tony may have think that he been talking to us. Now we might get a little something out of Chris. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy game that they play.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I thought that was, like, again, another scene I didn't remember in detail in my mind. And this is one of the things I feel like there's a little possibility for foreshadowing.
Man, have you explained how hard it is to be around alcohol? How common, how familiar surroundings set it off? They don't give a fuck.
They don't nobody cares about that shit, bro.
Just like Spike just said, they don't give a fuck.
Oh, nobody cares, bro.
No. Same way you shouldn't.
You here now? Yeah, we here now, bro. Like this, all of this shit that you talking about is over with. Unless you plan on getting fat and moving to Miami, nigga. Shout out to Jadakiss.
Shout out to Jadakiss, man.
Pretty much. Shout out to Ralph. We go to the next thing. Johnny pretty much is telling mob stories to the other inmates. And Johnny keeps smoking, and his wife has a problem with it. Rightfully so, but it is what it is. I don't got nothing to add to that scene, but
He felt good, man. This is him feeling like himself.
He needed it.
This
He
is like
did
him
need that,
sitting in the, he needed this. It's like me sitting in the coffee shop with the boys and telling stories and shit. These people so fascinated by him. Like, I could understand his wife being irritated.
Yeah,
Like, I
I can get
get
both
that.
sides.
You know
100%.
what I'm saying? So, but I also understand
All,
him too. Like, fuck
all
this
these
shit.
stories going with me, so I might as well get them out now.
Yeah, I mean,
Facts.
I already admitted that this thing exists. So, what are you gonna do? It's all a big nothing. We go to the next scene, and here now we're really starting to get to it. So, ironically enough, two consiglieres having a talk. Jerry is trying to assert his position as the next one up after Johnny, since Phil has lost his balls, lost his heart, and we get what feels like in this scene. We get what feels like a horror scene in The Sopranos. There's a few scenes. So we get this scene to feel like a horror film in The Sopranos, the Tony's dream in the locker where he was coughing up his teeth. That felt like a horror scene. We get when they was trying to hire the blind men to do a hit for them. That felt like a horror scene. With Chris, seeing the bird in the window, that kind of felt a little bit like a horror scene. And even at the end of this episode, the christening, there's a certain little thing. I don't think they're necessarily going for that, maybe more thriller-ish, but that stuff feel like a little horror. Did y'all get that vibe at all with this scene?
No, it never really gave me horror. I won't say that.
I think what you're saying, I can see. I think every time I see this scene, I just think about the first time I saw it, which was, oh shit, they about to get sealed, and then quickly realizing that wasn't the play. But I never forget just how I guess, for lack of a better term, shocking this was to see Seal talking and all of a sudden blood splattered and you not knowing where it came from, who got popped, what, and it obviously knowing the line of work Seal's in, is he next? And just thinking, oh shit, especially when you notice the last season, you, oh shit going up. So yeah, but what you're saying could absolutely be true.
Was that Joy Taylor at the table? Did you see that shit?
Joy.
Tell me that don't look like Joy Taylor.
You a wild boy. You a wild boy. That does look like Joy. I ain't gonna hold you.
That's a good one. Hey, so we find out that Doc is behind.
But I want to say some ill shit right now, but I'm not, man.
Go ahead,
respect.
Give it up. Give it up. Hey, the listeners will never give. You gotta get your Johnny Sack on.
Nah, man.
All right.
Do we know who did this?
The jokes are all over the internet. I don't need to add my own in there.
Okay, Doc.
Doc did
this. Yeah.
Which he's the other Italian mobster, but he kind of looks Indian every time I see him. I'm like, man, he looks like, you know what I mean? Like he looks like a different ethnicity every time I see him.
Native
dude with the white hair.
Native, yeah.
Native American, native. Yeah, with the white hair, yeah. So every time I see him,
indigenous.
Probably got some Sicilian.
Hey man, shout out to my people of color, man.
He probably got some Sicilian in his blood. You know they say you got to drop a black in him.
Got a little black in him.
He got a little
niggas,
Sicilian.
Man. Shout out to True Romance.
Little chocolate chip.
One of the best scenes.
Little chocolate chip is wild.
Hey y'all, get y'all some chocolate chip in your life.
A little chocolate chip is crazy, bro. You wild.
But again, we see that this is all because this is where you realize the code is not in effect at all. The honor is not in effect. Like, you got two capos now, they're whacking one another. Like, this is because Phil was talking about it. Like, Jerry was the next one. He felt like he was the better fit than Doc. And even the news was talking about kind of like who they felt would be the next one up. And then, pretty much Doc hire some dudes and whack him. And like, bro, y'all literally was just at the same spot with Phil, and now you're whacking a capo that y'all in the same crew. That's how you really know what at the end.
John did this too, though. When Carmine died, John had the same shit. No, he was going around doing the exact same thing.
Well, it's a difference, but the difference is between John and that is like,
the top spot is available. Ain't no difference. The top spot's available by any means. I'm about to go get it. This is a claim, because if I don't go get it aggressive, even if I do get it, people gonna think I'm soft.
But
and everybody knows.
Hell, even Lil Carmine did this with
Lorraine
Rusty. They did this with Rusty.
But Lorraine needed to pay up. Like she said, he said like pay up, and he gave her a warning already. You still didn't do it. Now you get whacked. This dude didn't even get a like chance. It was like
no, but that ain't why he killed Lorraine though. He killed Lorraine because she was going around saying Lil Carmine was going to be boss.
Well, yeah, but then he said I'm boss. Pay up,
and he was kicking up to Carmine. She was kicking up to Carmine.
That's what I'm saying. He gave her a warning though. Remember, next time there won't be a next time.
She can't fold. She can't fold though. She got to hope. Either way, she caught in the middle. It don't matter at this point. She caught in the middle. It's like being caught in baseball, right? Like either way. See, all you can do is continue kicking up to Lil Carmine and hope that he has enough juice to protect you. No, you can't kick up the field or Johnny at that point because then Carmine gonna be on your ass. So she was caught in a rough spot.
But Carmine wouldn't have whacked her though.
Carmine what?
He wouldn't have whacked her. If she
I know one of his people would have.
All right. Yes, definitely.
Social club, she has to go.
She has to go.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, pretty much that's it for Jerry. Jerry's, out of there. And I mean, that's the end of that.
I felt like he would have been a good character, man.
I liked him. Every time
I liked him. We should have spent some more time with him.
Yeah,
they go to the morgue. They walk that nigga down.
Yeah. Facts. He felt like a better version of Gigi to me.
Yeah, good pull.
A little bit like they got a similar look, but he just had a little more elaborative.
And that's ironic because they both went out shitty.
Always busting balls on me. Tony meets with Carmine. So there's a lot. I ain't gonna say there's a lot, but there's a few things that are noticeable here. But before I get into the scene, he's trying to pretty much root for Carmine to run for office. What do y'all want to add to the scene? I got a few things I want, but I figure I will start with you fellas first and see what y'all thought about Tony pretty much trying to convince Carmine to take the position now.
You have the name. You're the only one that can stop all of this. You step up right now and say that you want this position. Everyone's gonna go ahead and agree, and they're gonna back you to the point where all this shit stops. And one of my mans was at this meeting, man. Something could have happened to him. This is getting out of line. This is not normal. This isn't what we're used to in our customs and our standards. Like, this is the wild, wild west, and this shit, who knows how this is going to end? So we need somebody to be in charge. This is what happens when you don't have anybody at the top. So obviously Tony's upset about that. And I just thought, and I know you'll probably get into it, I thought Carmine's mentality and where he is in life after living and growing up in this and kind of figuring out and being like, you know what, man, I'm cool. And not too many gangsters get to that point where they can exit cleanly. Mm-hmm. Like, that's very rare. Mm-hmm. Tony just had the conversation with Bobby last episode where he knows how this usually ends. So Carmine, like, shit, man, he tells the story. Like I said, it was beautiful. But go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Mo.
Oh, Spike, what you got to add to it?
I was irritated by this, to be honest with you. The fact that, and I get these transitions that Tony made, that Phil has made, but when they were saying that he ain't got what it takes to be a boss in earlier seasons, like, you really don't. Like, if all it took is what scared you off to scare you off like this, and you talking to me about family and all of this shit now, like, then you would never cut out to be this in the first place. And it's irritating to think that they presented him as a character that could be. Like, you could never be like a Phil Leotardo or like his dad or John Sacramone, because you're just not, like, you down in Florida playing gangster. And we hear that in this soliloquy right here. Like, there's a lot to be said about these conversations that I had. Like, when you talked about with Phil, Mo, like, he has a right because of the heart attack. And then you have someone like Chris having that conversation. I feel like that's the same conversation that Tony and Lil Carmine are having right here. And it's like, but don't nobody want to hear that shit, man. Like, we here for a job, bro. Like, you telling me about your dreams and all of this shit. And just however many years ago, you was killing people for this. You was literally, like, y'all were at war about this position. And now niggas come to some realization, like, you weren't never cut out for it in the first place.
So what, no fucking ZD now? That's pretty much Tony. That's what Tony should have said.
Yeah.
No fucking ZD now? That what you saying? You saying all that to say this? Like, come on.
Facts.
That's interesting. So a few things that I'll double back on what you said. A few things. So some subtle either has meaning or it has no meaning. Carmine decides at first he wants to get a sweet tea then decides, you know what? Let me get an Arnold Palmer instead of just an iced tea. Let me correct myself, iced tea. So one could say he's playing both sides. Tea, lemonade. It's subtle. Could be a thing. Could not be a thing. I just thought it was interesting. Hey,
those some long arms, Mo.
Hey, relax. They ain't that long, bro.
New York, playing both sides over here.
New York and Jersey.
What do you mean playing both sides?
New York and Jersey.
What does that mean?
Playing both sides. He's the one that he has power on both sides of this thing. Yes, he's connected over there. He's connected over there.
How does that benefit him though? I'm trying to understand the benefit of what you're saying.
However he wants to play it, because he don't really have no stake in the game, but yet he could take over either side if he wanted to, if said leadership changes, if he wants to, because of the name. Like, he could do that. He could take them into the 21st century, T. That's one thing. Of course, we found out that Doc ordered the hit on his own crew. But then, like Rich was alluding to, or spoke a little bit about him telling the story about his dad and the empty gift box. He said that it meant to be happy, which I didn't necessarily get that, but since they wrote it that way, I'm gonna assume that. But the thing that stood out to me about the story was his dad having a paper hat crown like Burger King. I always thought, every time I hear that, I think that it's this glory and power position, but it really means nothing. And that's what we're seeing with Johnny Sack. That's what we're gonna start seeing with Tony, with obviously the Ride episode, where it's like it don't really mean nothing. Like, they're still harping on the Vipers. You know, all of these things are starting to get to a realization that none of this stuff really means much. You know,
that's a great point, Mo. But but it's just funny because there's still people, to continue our Wire crossovers, there's still people like Marlo in the world who says the point is they had a chance to wear it. It's my turn now.
That's
and
true.
I think that's what it looks like. You know what I mean? No matter what, the people can know this crown don't lead to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they can still have the mentality, it doesn't matter. I want the opportunity, because at least they had the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody always thinks, when they get in positions of power, I can do it better than the last person.
Of course.
So you quickly find out, nah, this is the seat. This is the chair.
I dealt with that with my own brotherhood. Like, when I was done as president, one of my brothers came up and he got back to me. He was like, "Hey, bro, I ain't gonna even lie. I thought I was giving you a lot of flack when you was president. Now I understand." I was like,
man, when school started SGP, I never forget him calling me like, "Hey, man, I apologize." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, shit different when you actually putting stuff together.
It is.
You got to deal with all these personalities and all this other shit. Like, I only deal with when you not the boss. All you deal with is the boss. Yeah. Everybody else is on a social level. I know it's work, but it can still be social.
Mm-hmm.
The boss got to deal with everybody.
Yeah, facts. And lastly, just on that, man, I just thought Carmine's ritual was just like, I said, bro, this is ideal. Like, that ritual he talks about, he was like, every night I come home from work, I strip down, jump naked in the pool. Nicole brings me a scotch and water. We sit, relax, a little talk. Then I go up in the bed, air conditioning. Then she brings me a light dinner on the tray. Man. And then and I thought that was fire. And lastly, another foreshadowing bar. I don't want to be the wealthiest widow in Long Island. Who would end up as a wealthy widow in this thing?
I will say this, man. It's funny because no matter what you think about Carmine, he is right. If I look at everybody's lives, I think I would want to live his.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Like,
this nigga on the golf course in the middle of the afternoon ordering Arnold Palmers with the Lacoste on, not a care in the world. Niggas killing each other. I don't give a fuck about none of that.
Like, and no real job. Like, I still ain't working real jobs. Like,
yeah, y'all got it. Shit, I'm cool.
Yeah, y'all do that. Laughing like, yeah, my nigga get your money.
Shout out to Cole, man.
We get Jenny Sack visits Johnny and talks to Warren, and Johnny pretty much just where we get to reveal that Johnny Sack wants to die like he lived in control, and that was pretty much what she tells him. Is this what we get to reveal that pretty much he got to agree with the doctor that he ain't gonna make it?
That's later on when he goes in his room.
Okay.
Yeah, he goes in his room and they have a conversation.
Okay.
This is after when he tells him old boy got hit.
Got you. So yeah, you're right.
Or got whacked, excuse me.
Carmela babysat Christopher's daughter, and pretty much Chris and Carm have a moment, which I always wish they had more moments because they were cousins, but and pretty much she's pretty much telling like, I don't appreciate what you put in the movie, like that wouldn't fly at all. And Chris ain't feeling it. He's triggered by it and kind of walks out and tell Kelly I'm in the car or whatever. Telling her I'm in the car and taking the car seat and everything. Just leave the baby with your cousin. It's crazy.
It's funny you pointed that out because that's the first thing I thought too. Like, nigga, how's she gonna pack up the baby?
Yeah, bro. Like don't even get me started. It's so much harder to put a kid in a car seat when the car's already in the car. I mean, when the car seat's in the car already. It's way harder. Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that.
Look, I was going to clarify, like, wait, what? It's harder to do it if they already in the car?
It's hard. Like, it's easier when the car seat's where you're at, because you can, when you got to do in the car, when you get older, your back, everything, angles and all that. It's like trying to still have sex in the car at this age. Put it that way.
Sounds horrible.
Exactly.
The fact that you know what?
You see what I did there?
The fact that you circled around from putting your child up to comparing it to having sex in the car is only something Mo could do.
Only me. You know, when we're talking about discomfort. You know what I mean? That's what we're getting at.
That's a logo 3 from Mo. Logo 3. He feeling it.
With the shrug.
He
with the shrug. With the Jordan shrug too.
Hey.
That might have been the Nick Young logo 3 though. Where he go in and out.
Turn around and miss.
That's good. I like that. Let's bring him down a little bit. But yeah, so then we get the Warren, the Warren and Johnny Sack scene or whatever.
Well, no, you didn't talk about Carmela and Chris.
Oh, I mean, I didn't have nothing else to add to other than that she pretty much told me I really didn't like the way you was talking. I didn't like the way you put that in the movie or whatever.
Do you think so? Just real quick, just to go along with our themes, because we're in real time. While we're discussing this, we're realizing that people might not have known or picked up on it. Because Chris's reaction to this and immediately going to JT's like, yo, you need to take credit for this, because people, I think it goes to what we said earlier, what I said earlier about, I don't think he thought that they were smart enough to pick up on it. And now he sees that Carmela's on it. So like, bro, you got to clean this up. Because if Carmela knows, that means I know she been on Tony ass about this. Well, it's just it's interesting how everything's a chain effect in this episode, a chain reaction, should I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Chris was so arrogant. You used it perfectly, Rich. He was so arrogant to think that nobody would pick up on this. You just sitting here spewing this bullshit in this diner about the creative process and all this, that, and the third, when really it just is revenge porn. And now Carmela calling you out about it and you acting like you offended. No, you just thought you were smarter than everybody else, nigga, and you're not. So now we're here.
I'll present one more option. I'm not on this scale by any means, but I do write. And I can say when it comes to the writing process, there's some things that are subconsciously there that when presented in the product, you don't realize this is stemming from something.
But that don't make it not about it though, right?
No,
like
what
even
I'm saying,
if you go,
what I'm saying is,
realize,
I'm saying the you're not realizing like
subconsciously, he doesn't know subconsciously that he's
subconscious that he realizes like, dang, this is coming from something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's always voiced his frustrations, but when making the movie, he's thinking like, oh, this would be great, and this would be great, this would be great too, and then do this scene. Then you realize it's like, oh, this is all great to me because this is how I feel. I didn't realize I felt this, and I'm exploiting this in script, in film. You know what I mean? So for me, in my writing process, sometimes some things will come out that I'm like, I'll get into it, and then I go back and listen. I'm like, I even listen like, where'd that come from? I'll wrestle with my only, anyway, but go ahead.
My only pushback to that is that's a very specific event to retell. I think what you're saying is correct. I see that in the writing process, but I just think there's no way you can tell me that if I'm anybody else, if I'm Carm, if I'm Tony, there's no way you can tell me that scene wasn't about what happened between me and you. I don't care what explanation you have. I don't care what writing you send up here to the
That is
bean.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
It's already done.
It's
already in my head. I know you did. That's way too specific, bro. You not about to. You can't sell me bullshit. We know the prices.
Now that scene specifically with.
It seems like as bad as that hurt Chris, it seems like even what you're saying, Mo, is true. Once you reading it back and you got rough drafts and final drafts and you going through like fucking scripts, and at some point that has to register to you. Oh shit.
So here's a not to cut you off, Spike. Perfect example, right? In the real world. I never forget when You Don't Even Know came out. Right?
Oh.
And everybody remembers Rick Ross had the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trigger warning to all the ladies out there. Put Molly all in her champagne. She ain't even know it. I took her home and I enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. I never forget hearing that line and thinking to myself, there had to be one person in the studio that went to Ross and said, hey, man, this ain't a good look, bro. This don't sound like you think it's sounding. This ain't going to hit the way you think it's going to hit.
Double down on the second part.
You feel me? Like somebody, but
like the second part is even wild. That's
somebody,
like, bro. You should have stopped there.
Somebody had to be in the room, and they knew it. They had to have known. That should have never even made it. Because not only did not only did he say it, the engineer was cool with it. Rocco was cool with it. Everybody was involved with the process, and it made it to radio. That shit's insane to me.
But maybe, like I've talked about, you know, what's her name that be on there every periodically on other books? Portia. You talk about the culture and the time, and at that time it's like, oh, okay.
Even then, it was wild. It was wild. It was wild. Like,
Molly
bro,
was such a thing. Like, you know, gold all on my pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Woo, like all that. Don't get me wrong.
I took her home
and I disrespectful.
You just said on record, I drugged and raped this woman. That's insane. Nobody told you that's not a good look. I know you're not saying that, Mo.
I know, but
I'm just saying in my head, that's crazy.
2012, it just
Hey, exit. Get off the exit, Mo. Stop. Get off the exit.
No, I'm no bail.
No. Get off the exit. Get off the exit, bro. Leave it alone. Because I know you well enough to know that you don't mean anything, but I see where this is going. I see where this is going, and it ain't. Mo means no harm.
Y'all know I love y'all. Yeah. But all right. So like I said, we get the Jenny doubling down. It's crazy. Jenny Sack visiting. Did I say this already? Yeah. Okay. So Warren and Johnny Sack, whatever. Warren tells Johnny about Jerry getting whacked in the restaurant, and you know Johnny's dying. Pretty much, he had to agree with the doctor diagnosis. Chris visits JT, and Chris tells JT he has to take credit for the love interest in the scene in the movie, and Chris clocks him with a trophy. One would say they don't have no award for that. Don't ever get snippy with me again.
You might talk to your agent like that. You might talk to
your agent. Hollywood size out there, bro.
I love how he be treating dude, man. It's one of the funniest, like, one-off things.
He's the new Georgie.
I love it, bro. This even worse than Georgie, because dude, Georgie at least be stupid enough. Like, Georgie don't realize what he doing. This dude think that he's so slick that he can do it. Yeah, like I'm so slick that I can slick talk Chris, but I'm a great writer and he needs me. And I love how Chris always puts him in his place. Like, man, you don't shut your bitch ass up like and hit it with the thing. This is a great scene, man.
Yeah, at this point, I do feel bad for JT. I do, because it's like, golly, bro, I didn't pay. How many times I didn't paid up my debt, like everything. I gave you my whip, my little car, bro. What more do you want from me on some Tyrese Gibson? You know what I mean? It's, you know.
Hey, once you in, bro. We say like we're gonna bleed you dry, nigga.
I know.
Bone dry.
That's it. Yeah. I make a living off of this. So
facts.
I do feel for JT too, because I'm like, damn, I can't even get credit for my real work. You want me to take credit for other shit? Like,
yeah,
I got me fucked up. That's that death row contract, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Tony and the boys at the Bing and JT visits. JT came up with I just had to say, JT came up with a good lie. Like to me, for him to come out of nowhere. For a normal person, like I mean, again, these
No,
mob
I
guys.
mean, for if you in line to a normal person, yeah. But if you're talking to somebody that deals in lies every day and is going to go actually watch the fucking movie that you're talking about, then it wasn't a good lie.
Still wasn't far off though. I feel like
it wasn't. But if you talking to a master manipulator,
master manipulator.
You're just a manipulator. This is a master manipulator.
That's
nigga.
true. Master
I see right through this.
Mo, well, here's the thing. Mo is right. You're both right because Mo is right. The lie is cool. It's the setting that doesn't make sense, right? You randomly pop in. We just had the conversation. Remember? He talked to Seal. Said, Chris here, you know Chris he don't come around here no more. Mm-hmm. So why would Chris be telling you to meet him here? Mm-hmm. Like, why you got that lump on your head? And that goes to show Chris wasn't even thinking about, if you need me to lie for me, you might want me in good shape so it doesn't look like I've been forced to do something. You know what I mean? And we're talking to Tony Soprano, which might be a nod to how out of touch you are. Like, you might have forgotten that this is Tony fucking Soprano. Yeah. He not going for this shit. And you might want to check with JT to see what lie he gonna tell. Even though he did come up with a good lie, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, on the fly, like, you know. But yeah, Tony reads through it and affirms his thinking.
Is that believable? Tony reading through that so easily?
Well, a little bit. I think that I really think that him having something on his eye and just the way that he's mentioning
it. That part is what. Yeah, that's what it was. It was that.
If he was at the grocery store and this was something, I think it probably would be a little bit more believable. But if you came to us, it feels like you came to us just to tell us a lie.
I mean, he's a writer, so I think Tony gets like, oh, okay, he has a little creativity here, so he can. But that scar is what I think lines up. You know what I mean? Yeah, but then Tony watches the movie JT mentioned, and I just thought the movie looked plausible for it. I did. I mean, looking at it, kind of getting the gist of the whole. I feel like it was plausible. And shout out to Tony doing the knowledge.
Man, shout out to Tony, man. I thought it was also interesting that JT used
the robe on.
Well, I thought it was funny that JT used he said he stole it from Broderick Crawford and Born Yesterday. Because you must think Tony was born yesterday if you think he's about to leave this shit.
Good call. Good call. Wow, that's deep. It's a deep call. Deep cut.
Yeah, man. You must think that shit. That's how Tony looking at me. You must think I was born yesterday.
Born yesterday, yeah.
You suddenly got a knot in your head and you looking for Chris. You brought up anytime somebody brings some shit up that you ain't asked him about.
He tried to get there, but I feel like he
ain't
tried
cool like that.
There. He tried to get there smoothly, like I don't feel like it, you know what I mean. I mean, again, this master manipulator, but I do feel like for what JT could offer and do, dealing with mob guys, I feel like he built it up nicely. You know, but again, you're dealing with Tony Soprano who lies for a living. You know what I mean? And then we get this next scene that affirms why Tony could pick that up so fast. So
shout out to Paulie too. I've never seen it. Why would I be confused?
Why would I be confused? Like, that's like a rap bar, low key. Tony and Melfi session. Tony seems genuinely hurt about, you know, what Chris did. What do y'all think about this? Like, he hate me this much. Y'all think Tony was genuinely hurt about it, or?
Yeah, I think he was genuinely hurt, and this is when he comes to the realization of what he has to do. Like this is like when he finally understands. Like, they did a good job of stacking it on top of each other because he told him, Chris, you did something they'll never be able to take away. You made a movie. And then he tells Dr. Melfi, this is the image that he leaves out there of me forever. I've been knowing this nigga since he was a baby. I've rode him around on my bike in a fucking basket. And now he's telling people that I'm some adulterous, murderous killer. That's what he think of me. Mm-hmm. After all that Tony thinks that he's put into this relationship. I know what I have to do moving forward. There is no coming back from this. There is no changing his mind, because in Tony's mind, where it's 360 degrees different from Chris, in Tony's mind, I've been really holding it down for you.
I've been telling you to stay away.
Like your girl. Well, actually, not even that. Like, look at all the shit that I've done for you. Your girl was out here snitching. Mm-hmm. You ain't dead. You was drugging out. You out here using drugs. You not dead. Like, all of these things that would have got anyone else killed, and I'm still trying to make you one of the top spots in my family. And this is how you want people like to know me by. It's over. There's nothing I could do. There's only one thing I could do.
Yeah, it is, and you got to remember, like Chris took a stab at writing. He took a stab at acting. He
And
took a stab at pitching to John Favreau. Like he kept having these moments, and Tony kept telling him, like, "Bro, leave that alone. You're a gangster." You know what I mean? But he kept doing it, and finally, when you finally asked me, "Can you do the movie?" I literally just came out of a coma, and then when you come up with a movie, the movie you come up with is a biopic, a revisionist biopic of our relationship.
A horror film. And the genre is horror. This has been a horror for you the whole time.
Yeah, it's not like a drama. It's not a thriller. It's horror. Like, come on, bro. Like, yeah, I got to do that.
One of the most profound statements that he says in therapy throughout the whole series is his last one when he said, "I've been coming here for years. I know what subconscious means."
That's
like this is him telling Dr. Melfi and us about a later questions is asked and what we've been asking the whole show. Like, is he using this just to like sharpen his skills, or is he really trying to get help? No, nigga, I'm learning from you. I'm sitting here telling you these problems and understanding how real people who are not in this game process them, and then I'm gonna apply what I learned and go apply them to our game. Because I think this is making me smarter than most of the other gangsters because they not in here doing what I'm doing. Great scene and line by Tony.
Dr. Melfi single-handedly is responsible for Kennedy and Heidi.
Yep.
I'll keep saying who's responsible for this.
There's a lot of people I could blame.
You talk about diss records that we've had last in 2024. It's the ultimate diss record. I made a diss film.
Yeah.
Like that's another level.
And I was so disrespectful that I thought you wasn't even gonna be smart enough to pick up on it.
Bruh.
So this how disrespectful I am, nigga. I dissed you, and you too dumb to notice.
No, I dissed you and you funded it.
You paid for it,
bro. Yeah,
you too dumb to notice,
bro. It's like when niggas diss somebody on their own track. Yeah, it's the same shit.
Yeah,
facts.
Bruh. Good point. That is the ultimate diss record, man. Christopher Moltisanti. We talk about Kendrick Lamar. We talk about Drake, but it's Christopher Moltisanti, man. The ultimate diss. Pretty much we get to our next scene, and Johnny Sack takes his last breath. You know, he's kind of out of it, and he hears his mom or sees his mom, and I mean, it felt very realistic on like the scene, and like, man, this is a rough one. It's rough. Again, these are terrible people, but it's just a rough scene because it's like, man, he's really out of here, and it's like those last moments. Like she's trying to clean the shoe. You don't know what to do when you're about to lose a loved one. Like in that moment, like it ain't nothing you can do. You just trying to manage it. And the fact that like that was it. She tried to give him a cigarette, like, and you know, that's it. And we lost one of our favorite characters, man. Anything I want to say about Johnny Sacramone?
How do I?
Facts.
Say goodbye,
man. I'm sure we'll probably
we'll do a character.
There's not enough time, man, to say what you want to about Johnny Sack, man. I'm sure we'll have a Back of the Bing episode. Maybe we'll have an in memoriam episode to kind of talk about all the people we lost throughout this journey of the Sopranos.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, one of a kind. You see them toasting. You see the care that they took with this episode because they knew what they were doing. They knew this isn't just some random. This is John Sacramone, man. We're gonna make sure he gets his toast at the end. We're gonna make sure we show every single detail of what's going on because for him not to be a part of the Jersey crew who we spend most of our time with, he sure did feel like a close affiliate.
Yeah.
And it's a sad moment, man. Johnny Sacramone, he still lives on in Sopranos infamy.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tony's reaction was just like when the brother-in-law came, it was just like, you know, I was like, dang, because I rock with dude. Like, that's my guy. Like, we had some ups and downs, but he's still my dude.
And it shows you how much they talk about the allocation, but man, that's still Johnny Sack. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, we was mad at him and salty at him, but damn, Johnny Sack, they got Johnny Sack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's still up for Paulie though. Paulie's still mad.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. He got finessed.
Got tricked.
Yeah, he died from cancer. I beat cancer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, too soon. So we go to. I did want to ask, what do y'all think Tony was thinking in this moment though? It's not
end of the end.
because he said it's only few ways this thing can go. And Johnny Sack ended up getting like kind of both ways. Like he's at 85% of the time he ended up in can.
Getting it both ways was crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. Pause. Double entendre.
No, Tony's just like, it's just like us, man. We've all felt this in real life, especially if you lost someone, a loved one that like you grew up watching and they were young and they were about your age and then they die, but before they're supposed to, or when your peers die, it hits you different because it makes you look at your own mortality.
That's true.
You're like, damn, like from a heart, like think about when you get those calls. Like we of the age, all of us now, where we've gotten those calls now. You be like, man, such and such passed. You're like, what?
Yeah.
No fucking way. And that's what he's like. Like he getting to the junior phase of his life.
And it's crazy because as they go to the next scene, talking about Billy Leotardo, all you can do is hope that you got people around in this world that's gonna still like let your memory live on, celebrate your birthday, got the cake, got people around to make sure they know who you were. Because that's another reality when they talk about if you go into the whole, it's all a big nothing. It's really the area of where you live. Because unfortunately, for a lot of us, once your memory lives on with the people that are around, but what happens when they gone?
Right.
Yep.
What happens when there's people, when everybody on the planet, they don't even know who you were. They don't know nobody that knew you. The people that knew you are old and gray. Like, so you know what I mean? It's just, I know that not to get too morbid, but
that's where we at though.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, man.
Yeah,
you just hope that you got somebody like Phil that's every year we gonna gather together for your birthday, even though you gone, man.
Yeah.
Might make a post, man, because as time goes on, they get fewer and fewer.
That's true. Phil pretty much puts his foot down and he says, "Look, man, like that's it. No more of that. No more." Because he thought it was in his DNA. Like it was just like just rolling over and compromising. So he pretty much like, "Nah, I bumped that. I'm going out hard." You know what I mean? Pause. So, and he pretty much like take the reins and say, "Yo, I'm back in this thing. I'm boss again, and this is how it's about to go. I ain't no more compromising. I'm sick of this. This is what it is. I'm about to play the new game." And then we get the last scene of the christening of Christopher's daughter. I don't really have nothing to add. I know it's kind of Godfather-esque, but I just wish the scene would have been drawn out a little more. Felt like they had to cut some stuff short, and they chose to do it there. And then also that terrible music they're playing. It's just like it. I don't know what that was about, but yeah. This scene always is supposed to be like a pivotal scene, but it's so short, and I always like, why did y'all shortchange it? I always feel that way every time I see it, because this is like the last thing where it's like, oh, it's really up between them two. Like this is such a thing. Anything I want to add to that last scene, the christening or whatever?
It might as well been a kiss of death.
Facts.
You know what I mean? The same. Like, it reminds me of Fredo and Michael.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it should have been a longer scene because of that. But it is what it is.
I think that was for me. It hit the spot. It was simple, and it leads up to I wonder what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they gonna keep skirting around, like not liking each other, not fucking with each other, or is something going to genuinely happen? I think it was a good setup. I appreciated it.
Okay. Well, without further ado, we're getting our rankings here. Spike Lou, how do you rank this episode?
It's a good earner.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kept it from being made?
It's a good earner in the sense of I could see where you would say made or someone would suggest made because of the loss of a major character. I get that. I still don't think that it's still not in that tempo or that sweet spot that we had for season 6B. And this is me judging it from having seen the episodes, so I know when it gets good, like the made episodes started mating. And this ain't quite there yet. Just like Luther Curl. It didn't just quite.
Luther Curl. We're gonna do a thing when we get to all of the episodes as far as like what we rank, if we can change our mind, because you're ranking this on 6B, but you got other good earners and stuff that's so much lower than this. And some made stuff that's like not better. And which I imagine we all
to you.
Okay. All right. Rich, how do you rank this episode?
Made.
Fair enough.
R.I.P. Johnny Sack, man.
It's made for me. Yeah, R.I.P. Johnny Sacramone. Spike,
let me ask y'all the same question. Well, let me ask y'all the same question. What made it a made episode for y'all?
Johnny Sack was a big part of it for me. Just our last hurrah with Johnny Sack. A lot of the reflection. This is kind of like that bridge episode between now and the end of the series. This is the reflection period. This is everybody realizing what needs to be done. And now it's about, is this going to happen or not? This is Phil looking at his legacy. This is Johnny Sack looking at his legacy. Everything that we've been building up for these 6 seasons, what did it all mean? They're asking that question, and they're getting ready to enter the finality of it. And I just thought that was just a perfect way to, this is kind of what the show is about. This is a perfect episode for that. And you get a little bit of everything that you want in the Sopranos world. You get a Melfi session, you see a murder, you got real boss talk, you got power struggles, you got some comedy with the whole Cleaver. Cleaver's an iconic Sopranos thing. Like, it was just a lot of stuff that it was just too hard for me to say. This is just a good earner.
It was high level across the board for me. Like, and the foreshadowing is the most for me by far. They gave so much foreshadow that's so excellent. Like, you know, that I appreciate it a lot.
To Mo's point, if you wanted to just randomly pick an episode to say, when did you know all this shit that's going to happen at the end is going to happen? I would tell them, watch this episode. Watch Stage 5. Because guess what? Stage 5 is even the whole title about Johnny Sack and his cancer. Well, there is no Stage 5. That means it's the end.
Yep.
This is letting you know. This is everybody else in Stage 4.
Yeah.
This is everybody else in Stage 4, and the rest of the series is Stage 5.
That's what I meant to bring up. Thank you for bringing up. Yep. Stage 5. Yeah. Crazy.
Good.
Who gets the good earner chain, Spike?
The good earner chain for this episode, I got to give it to my man, the doctor. Why is his name slipping from me now? Nate Warren. Yeah, I give it to Warren, man. Warren came in strong, solid performance. He got to meet a real life gangster. You could tell he was fanboying out over John, off his expertise, which, you know, at some point I think he was just blowing smoke up his ass. But hey, you get to be cool with a mobster. Brought John. He gave us the last great moments of John Sacramone when he's smoking a cigarette, telling the stories. Like, that was how we remember John, and Warren was able to bring that out. So I'm gonna give it to Warren.
Shout out to Warren. As funny as that story is, but what about you, Rich?
Yeah, it's got to be Warren. The only other person you can give it to is Doc.
Oh, yeah.
Got a cherry hit.
You'll see.
Unless you give it to Lil Carmine.
That's exactly.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Lil Carmine.
That was my number 2.
I guess that's right.
That was my number 2.
Yeah, Lil Carmine. Lil Carmine. That's it.
Yeah, I was like, he going home.
Bird's eye view.
Arnold Palmer. Like, yeah, bird's eye view. You're right. I think even in this moment though, just to be big enough to still say no, like, and now he said, "Who would ever thought you'd say this now?" And still standing on business, saying, "Now, nope, not boss." Who gets the broken balls for you, Spike?
Broken Balls Award. It's easy to one to do, but it's literally nothing. And I was gonna say AJ, just for how Blanca's treating him, and like him being completely oblivious to what the fuck is going on. Yeah, it's over for that. See, I'm gonna go AJ. Yeah, fuck it. I'll stick.
No, that's good.
I'll pick the low hanging fruit. It's AJ.
AJ, yeah, that's over. She closed up shop on that.
Rich. She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog.
Yeah, a big dog.
Jordan got to see what she did. The broken balls, man. It's kind of hard to give it to Tony because Tony plays a role in his own demise. You kind of want to give it to Chris, Tony, and Carmela kind of as a trio because of everything in Cleveland, but I'm going to give it to JT. I'm going to take some low-hanging fruit and give it to JT.
That's good.
JT had a rough go at it. He just always, like y'all said, he's New Georgie. He's put in impossible spots. And we know what we know how JT's story ends. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to him. I want to give it to Tony, but I just can't. I feel like me giving Tony broken balls is disregarding his own role and all his bullshit. So he had a rough go at it too, man. Because Tony's really hurt.
Yeah. Ironically enough, I gotta go Warren. I love his character, but Warren, like you took the biggest L because you was on coke. You was a reputable doctor. You took coke and alcohol, and you shot up 3 people. Now you're in there. Then the one time you got to redeem yourself, you give a diagnosis and try to let him in on insider doctor information. You end up being wrong. So your word still didn't mean anything. So you know what I mean? It kind of was just like, bro, nothing. Yeah, but you
it's like they say with jail lawyers, man. Niggas, they part way know what they talking about, but most of the time they don't.
Yeah, you're here with me, so I guess it ain't valid enough. But yeah, I gotta go Warren just because his word didn't, it wasn't bond. You got a favorite quote of this episode, Spike?
It's a young man's game. Being a boss.
That's good.
Being a boss in a young man's game.
That's Phil, right?
Phil Leotardo talking to Tony about being the next boss. Yeah.
It's a young man's game. It's a good one. I ain't think about that. What say you, Rich?
And the mailman. At that point, I had to fully commit. Even though my runner-up would have been Isaac Newton invented gravity because some asshole hit him with an apple.
That's good. That was so funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I don't know where these things come from. Isaac Newton created gravity because some asshole hit him with an apple. That's it, man. Warren telling that story and just saying that line, like that's somebody that, like I said it earlier, man. That's somebody's loved one. Somebody cared deeply about that mailman. At that point, I just had to commit.
Man,
that nigga's
now.
wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
he gone. It's fucked up, man.
I guess I'll just use
use what Tony told
us. I've been coming here for years. I know too much about the subconsciousness. Yeah, that
I like that. That's a good one.
I've been coming. And Spike, what's your favorite moment of the episode?
The Warren story. The Warren story with turning Johnny Sack over casually telling me he killed 3 people.
Okay. What about you, Rich?
The ending. Phil talking to Butchie and the family, everything. That's, as I mentioned earlier, so why this is made episode, that's the moment where you see the flip with Phil. Like, this is enough is enough. And I think as individuals, maybe you hit this point in your life, maybe you haven't, where you just look around at your life and be like, nah, this ain't it. There's more out there, and I'm about to take it. I'm tired of all this shit. He really reflecting, looking at things. Every single time I've been met with some kind of friction, I rolled over. Out of respect for all this other stuff, now it's about time I put myself in front. I'm about to bring out the real Phil.
Yeah.
The real Phil. Yeah, my real father, please stand.
Yeah, man. But seriously, man, because that's
Phil's my real dad. Y'all remember
because I just think it's amazing what people can do when they finally commit to it in their mind. When your mental is there, and you say no more of this. And I believed Phil Leotardo when he said that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, this shit over, bro. I'm up here toasting to he was 47, man. He was still a kid.
Yeah.
Now let all that shit slide. Fuck all that, bro. Now I'm taking over. We see how quickly Phil gets shit handled. So
yeah,
that's one of my favorite moments because we see a whole different Phil.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cleaver screening. I always like that scene. It's such a interesting. I mean, obviously the salacious part of it, but just the interesting part of like this is such a different world and moment to see our characters at the movie theaters.
I'm about to say you like seeing gangsters do regular shit.
Yeah, I do.
Y'all, hey Spike, y'all go to the movies?
Yeah.
Shout out to The Wire, man.
Shout out to The Wire, man. But straight up, so yeah, that's mine. Just them going and seeing the screening of Cleaver. But that is our episode, man. Hopefully we made y'all Mafia Mondays swell as always. Again, y'all can reach out goodearnerpod@gmail.com and all of the other places that are mentioned in the description. We will continue to keep putting this out and just stay tuned. Eventually, we're going to do a vote to see what y'all would be into for us to review next, way down the line. somewhere in the rest at later time at this year. But in the meantime, in between time, thank y'all for listening, and remember, don't forget about it.